this is where MAGA comes to talk. And, I'm going to start with what Biden did over the weekend at the college and Jean-Pierre's craziness that's going on. Here we go.
Hello, this is Mike at Friendly Tire. I've been in business 30 years at the same location and offering great deals on new and used tires.
Okay.
I will give you a price over the phone.
Welcome, everyone.
Used tires.
If you're new, subscribe.
977
Here we go.
9445. Thank you.
On the air since 1977, it's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
All righty, it sure is. My name is Brian. This is Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977, celebrating 47 years on the radio, the Steve Kane Show. We have so much to cover today, guys. I mean, a lot. And I almost don't know where to begin, but I'll figure it out. There's a lot to cover. One of the things we're going to cover is Biden and Jean-Pierre are trying to start a race war in America. That's right, and we're going to cover that quite a bit here in the beginning. There's also a big move by the mainstream fake news corporate media and, of course, the Democrats to try to get Alito off the bench of the Supreme Court. We're going to talk about that and a whole bunch more. So stand by, because today is one of those shows that you do not want to miss a second of. But I want to start with Jean-Pierre, and then we're going to go through Joe Biden, who is the most racist person to ever be president since color television was introduced to American households. And that is no exaggeration. I know, it's disgusting that someone such a racist is president right now. But that'll be in January. We'll have a president that supports diversity of all types, Donald Trump. We'll also cover Trump's speeches over the weekend. He gave 2, Friday in Minnesota, which was spectacular, and then Saturday at the NRA convention. So we've got a lot to cover, and those are just a handful of things. I've got more stuff to talk about than we have time to cover on the show, but whatever I don't get to on the radio show, I will most definitely get to on my podcast later today. And also, your calls are welcome on any of the topics that we bring up today at 1-888-465-2631. I want to start with Jean-Pierre, who is the most incompetent woman to ever be press secretary. I didn't say most incompetent person, most incompetent woman. She is the most incompetent female to be the White House press secretary. I can't say that definitively for all of them because, well, there's been a long list of press secretaries, and there's been good ones and bad ones, but there were a lot before I was around. But I've been around for all the ladies, starting with the Clinton era. And all the female White House press spokespeople had different problems, okay, especially the ones for the Democrats. But none has been as stupid as Jean-Pierre. Now, a few months back, there was a move by the Obama faction at the White House to remove Jean-Pierre, and she won that, which is surprising. She's, race card. They didn't want her all over television saying she was fired, and if she were white, she would have been there still. They offered her a job, which really was an embarrassment of a job to try to get rid of her. They offered her the presidency of Emily's List, which is an abortion rights advocacy group that's not even really that well known. And she said no. They didn't offer a TV job to her at MSNBC or CNN like Jen Psaki got. So she's still there. And what she did in the most recent White House press briefing was the exact opposite of what she should be doing. Now, you got to understand, when a White House press spokesperson speaks, In theory, it's supposed to be as if the president is speaking. They are a spokesperson for the president. And what Jean-Pierre has done is turn the White House press briefing into her daily talk show, where she editorializes and gives her personal opinions on things. When you're in a position like that, when you're in a position with a public audience, when people get out of control and try to incite things, you are required morally and professionally and also legally try to cool things off. If people call here and they start to get out of control, I'll take control and I'll cool things down. That's what you're supposed to do. De-escalate. What Jean-Pierre did in the White House press briefing, Ducey asked her a question, and which I'm going to play you the entire exchange here in a moment, and she did the exact opposite of what she is supposed to do. In fact, she should be fired for what she did. So without giving any more explanations, let me play it, and then we'll talk about it. It's Jean-Pierre and Ducey. I'll play the whole thing uninterrupted if I can, and then we'll go back through it.
Thank you, Corinne.
Sticky fingers.
Yeah.
That's what you called yourself. You said you had
Well, I kept dropping my notebook. I'm just so excited to be here. There's a billionaire, Ray Dalio, quoted by the Financial Times. He's saying now that the chances of a civil war in this country are around 35 to 40%. Do you think the chances are that high?
I mean, I'm not in a place to give probabilities, or I don't gamble. I don't spend my time in Vegas, so I couldn't speak to that. But what I can say is the president has been really clear about the need to continue to fight for our democracy. That is one of the reasons he jumped into the election back in 2019. What he was seeing across the country, what we're seeing obviously in Charlottesville, and what he saw there, the vile, the hatred, and it was concerning to him. And so, but, you move forward, and from there to January 6th of 2021, that was a very scary time in our democracy. That was a stain on our democracy. What we saw happening at the Capitol, rioters of 2,000 rioters wanting to turn over a free and fair election. So obviously the president wants to continue to fight for that, continue to fight for our democracy, fight for our freedoms, and that's where we're going to continue to stand. I can't give probability. I don't even know who you're speaking of.
All right, now, Corinne, pro tip, stop banging on the damn podium by the microphone. Can you imagine if I did that all the time? If I did that all the time while I was talking, what's wrong with this idiot? But that's the least of the problems. What she just did on so many levels is irresponsible and inappropriate. What she just did, the guy, Ducey asks her about the probability of a civil war. By the way, the probability of a civil war is absolutely zero. Things are, for many, many reasons, back in the day of and the Civil War is so improperly titled. The United States, while we had a civil war, the proper name for that conflict is the Democrat insurrection against the federal government. The Democrat insurrection against the federal government. That's what I call the United States, the U.S. Civil War. But regardless of all of that, what she did at the end is she said, well, I don't know what the odds of a civil war are, but if Biden doesn't get his way, he will do whatever necessary to get his way. That's what she said. So what Jean-Pierre, who's speaking for the president there, said was that, well, I don't know what the probability of a civil war is, but, and then she lays out the justification for them to wage war against the American people. This is borderline incitement of violence, and it, without question, is inappropriate and just wrong. Somebody asks me a question like that, I tell them zero. There is zero chance of a civil war in this country, and I'll tell you why quickly. During the U.S. Civil War, the Democrat insurrection against the federal government, the country was a lot different then. Well, first of all, Democrats owned black people. That was a big problem, Democrats owned black people. And if you watch Biden over the weekend at the NAACP and at the college, Morehouse College, he's trying to re-enslave black people, Joe Biden. But the country was much different. Back then, most people lived their entire lives and never went 20 miles away from where they were born. Most people, not everybody, before the Civil War. Okay? That's true. Many people, huge chunk of the population prior to the Civil War, and I'm not talking about slaves, I'm about white people, didn't go 10 miles away from where they were born throughout their entire life because travel was so difficult back then. But and back then, and you've heard people talk about this, people viewed their states in a different way. People viewed their states like a country in many ways back then as opposed to now because people didn't travel. So now not only do we have travel in ways that are pretty high-tech and fast, but we've had so much migration that you don't have those regional differences that you had in 1860. So there's zero chance of a civil war. I mean, you go to Florida. Florida, great example. They got that new movie, Civil War. That's why everyone's talking about Civil War, because the new movie. What percentage of the Florida population is native Floridian? I'm not. I came here when I was a kid. My parents have lived here, but they're not native. My daughter and wife are. But how many people really are native Floridians? Native. Not that many. In fact, the population of Florida is 3, maybe 4 times what it was when I first moved here as a kid. It's grown that much. People come from all over the country. And it's not just Florida, it's the entire country, for the most part. So it's just a whole other mindset. But what Jean-Pierre said there was a justification for Biden to do whatever it is he wants to do to maintain power. Because what she just said, now, I don't know what the probability of a civil war is, but Biden will do whatever it is he wants to do or has to do or feels he needs to do to maintain democracy. And democracy is being defined as Democrats in power. Have you noticed that? That's the new definition. George Orwell, 1984, changing the meaning of words. Democracy now means Democrats in power. If Democrats are not in power, you don't have democracy. That's how Jean-Pierre's defining it. Now, we'll take our first break of the week, and we'll get into this senile old coot in his race baiting over the weekend. I'm talking about the father of 2 junkies, Joe Biden. My name is Brian. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show. Our number's toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's Monday, May 20th, coming up on 16 minutes after the hour. We'll be right back.
Don't sit on the sidelines. Get in on the action. Call the Steve Kane Show live on air now. 888-GO-KANE-1. This is the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Your home is your safe space, your private refuge from the world at large. So what happens when a burglar invades that space? Possessions can be replaced, but the feelings of helplessness and violation felt by you and your family are harder to overcome.
Protect your space and your family with the award-winning Sloman Shield home security system. It's never been easier or more affordable than now to make the switch to Sloman's. When you call 833-283-5050, you get a free home security system, plus your choice of a free interior monitor.
Welcome, everyone. If you're new, make sure you subscribe.
When you subscribe to the Sloman's low-cost monitoring system for 5 years with the Sloman Shield, you can arm and disarm your system, view your home, lock your doors, control your thermostat, even turn your lights on and off right from your smartphone or tablet. Call 833-283-5050 now and ask about a free home security system. You'll save money and gain peace of mind knowing your family is secure with Sloman's. Call 833-283-5050 today.
Do you suffer from neuropathy? Maybe you do and you don't even know it. Do you have numbness?
All right, we're going to move into Biden when we get back. I'm just queuing everything up. I mean, what Jean-Pierre said is so irresponsible. We will be back shortly. We'll be back in just over a minute. All right, where are we going to start? All right, we'll be back in 15 seconds.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. Listen in the Palm Beaches on 95.9 FM, the Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM, hear us in Boca on 95.3 FM, Fort Lauderdale on 96.9 FM, and anywhere in the world at True Oldies.
All right, welcome back. Father's Day right around the corner. You want to do your Father's Day shopping at mypillow.com with our promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E. Huge savings. I just got a text message on the way in this morning from Mike Lindell's office, and they wanted me to tell you, and they're an hour behind us, so they're up really early at Mike Lindell. Well, they sleep well. They got all the MyPillow products, so they get up early and rested and or at work. There's a flash sale going on right now on the 100% Giza Cotton Dream Sheets on the king and queen size. The queen, which is regularly $139.96, just $59.98. These are the 100% Giza Cotton Dream Sheets. These are the best sheets you've ever had. I sleep on these every night. And the kings, which are normally $159.98, just $69.98 with our promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E. They come in many different colors. The Giza Cotton Dream Sheets are 100% Giza Cotton, the finest cotton in the world. It will keep you cool and comfortable all night long because that Giza Cotton perfectly regulates your temperature. You can use our promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E, on all the specials at mypillow.com. Do your Father's Day shopping there. Also, free shipping on all orders over $75 with our promo code Kane at checkout. You can also order by phone 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code Kane, K-A-N-E. All right. So let's get back into this just disgusting display over the weekend by Joe Biden, who went around race baiting at Morehouse College's graduation and at the NAACP. And of course, he says Trump's a racist and all this stuff. He's down with the black people. I want to play two things of Joe Biden. One of them was in 2007 when Barack Obama, Senator Barack Obama. Don't you wish it was still Senator Barack Obama? Just a terrible presidency that just really did a lot of damage to this country that we're only now realizing with all these pro-Hamas protests at America's universities. But Joe Biden was talking about Senator Obama in 2007, and that's some pretty racist stuff. Listen.
First sort of mainstream African American. Yeah. Who was articulate and bright and clean, and a nice-looking guy. I mean, that's a storybook, man.
Yeah, now, I want you to think about that, what he just said there. Joe Biden in 2007, and this is what this is hardcore racist. You know, the thing about real racist, and I'm talking about real racists like Joe Biden. They do not view themselves as racist. These racists don't run around saying that I'm racist. They think that they just see the world in its proper light, as opposed to the rest of us, these racists. They don't view themselves as racist. They view themselves as realist. Joe Biden said that that Barack Obama is so unusual. He's a black man, he's articulate, good-looking, and he takes a bath, that's so unusual. This is what Joe Biden said in 2007. It is so unusual that a black man is articulate, good-looking, and clean, that's so unusual, someone should write a book about him. Someone should write a book about Obama because those things are so unique among black men. And that's exactly what, I said this in 2007, I'm saying it again now. Let me play it again.
First sort of mainstream African American who was articulate and bright and clean and a nice looking guy. I mean, that's a storybook, man.
Someone should write a book about that. And it's so unusual for a black man to be those things. A book must be written about him. That's what Biden said. But he was always a racist. And busing. Now, a lot of people have forgotten about busing. These kids graduating Morehouse College may not even know what it is. I was bused when I was a kid, and what busing was, it was big in the 70s and in the early 80s. Okay? After the Republicans ended the Democrat segregation of the public schools and we had integration, in these liberal places around the country controlled by Democrats, and I lived in one of those places, Columbus, Ohio. Okay, you know, the last school district in America to be desegregated, anytime we bring this up, I like to point this out. Well, I'll ask you, what was the last school district in America to be desegregated, to have full integration, blacks and whites sitting next to each other in classrooms? What do you think? Was it in Louisiana, where Mike lives? Was it in Mississippi? Was it in Georgia? Was it some hicks here in Florida in some school district? No. The last school district in America to be desegregated was Boston's school district. That's right, liberal Boston, Massachusetts. Kennedy country. Run by Democrats, racist Democrats. So busing was controversial because people, and I was a victim of this. I didn't realize it at the time. There was a school so close to my house, this is not an exaggeration, I could see it from my bedroom window. This is a true story. I could see it from my bedroom window. I could see the school. But they brought in busing, and I had to get bused to a school all the way across the town in the ghetto. And let me tell you, it was a ghetto school. It was a long ride on the bus across Columbus, Ohio, which is a very big city, like Miami, or something. And it was so ghetto that we were raising money, for the shoe drive for underprivileged children that didn't have shoes. And when we were at lunch, someone came in and stole the money. We didn't have that happen at the other school in my neighborhood. But busing was a forced way to integrate schools. And the final ending of Democrat segregation was busing. Very controversial. And Joe Biden, got this audio. This is Joe Biden in 1977. That's the year that the Steve Kane Radio Show began on the radio, coincidentally. The year Star Wars was in theaters. I was 6, starting kindergarten. Joe Biden, of course, was in the Senate and had been in the Senate for many years by this time. And he was arguing to maintain segregation of public schools. It was against busing. Listen, Joe Biden in 1977.
As being north versus south. That's not the issue. It is rural versus urban. And most of the busing that's taken place to date has taken place in rural areas, whether it's be administratively ordered or court ordered. Now we're moving into applying the same standards to urban areas. And it is a standard that doesn't make sense. It doesn't apply. It doesn't hold. We're moving from trying to, in urban areas, we've had integrated facilities but segregated neighborhoods. And in rural areas, we've traditionally had integrated neighborhoods but segregated facilities. And they've applied the same standard and the same test. So this north-south thing is not really the issue. As Professor Nathan Glazer at Harvard has indicated, as Dr. Armour of the RAND Corporation, as James Coleman, as I just held 3 days of hearing, two days of hearings in the Judiciary Committee on another bill I have, beyond this that deals with busing. And there is uniform opinion.
See, now what Biden is doing here, 1977, yeah, he was articulate. By the way, I've tweeted all this stuff. If you go to my Twitter, Brian Craig Show, you can get all this stuff I'm sharing. Joe Biden, in 1977, I'm going to play the rest of it. We'll take the break late. He is arguing in favor of maintaining segregation. And he's introduced bills into the Senate that he's hoping President Carter will sign against busing so that these Democrats that are white don't have to send their kids to school with black kids. He's arguing against segregation. Or I'm sorry, he's arguing against integration. He's arguing to maintain segregation by opposing busing.
Those who testified that it is not a north-south, it's an urban-rural question, distinction.
But no matter what your intent, there are going to be those who say it's a segregated thing, it's a question of race, and that you have set back the movement of desegregation of schools. How would you answer that?
The way I answer that is I predict that the young black leadership of America will overwhelmingly decide with me. I predict that in 1980 and 84, my position will be totally vindicated by the sociologists and by the civil rights act.
See, he's got some sociologists that agree with him that the schools should be segregated, Joe Biden. He's got scientists, sociologists, that's a science, racist Klan sociologists that are agreeing with him that the integration of the public schools is wrong. This is Joe Biden.
That side of the track. That's where I'm from. I was a defense lawyer. I handle civil rights cases. I sat in on Route 40. I mean, I'm not from the other side of this. And I happen to think that the one way to ensure that you set the civil rights movement in America further back is to continue to push busing.
Okay, yeah. You'll set the civil rights movement back if you continue to push for the integration of the public schools. Now, over the weekend, this senile old corrupt coot, Joe Biden, said he was a lifelong member of the NAACP. Lifelong. Now, I'm very curious. When he was here in 1977 arguing in favor of segregation, because that's what he's talking about, was he a member of the NAACP then?
Because it's a bankrupt policy. And that's why I think I'll be vindicated. I don't include myself with pro or anti-busing forces. I think the only group that can determine whether or not a constitutional violation exists are the federal courts of the United States of America. No one else has that right. Secondly, a federal court of the United States of America determining a violation of the Constitution with regard to school desegregation cases must find that there is a specific intent to segregate before they can order busing.
Wow, he's finding loopholes to maintain segregation.
That I abide by, that I legislate by, that I hold by. And they're the standards.
There you go. Didn't talk that way at Morehouse over the weekend. Didn't talk that way at the NAACP event over the weekend. He's arguing against the integration of public schools with passion on TV in a press conference. And back then, doing a press conference like this on TV, on network TV, was a big deal. Maybe a third of the country saw that. Busing, it seems like, what is that? I don't understand. It was one of the most controversial issues in this country's history. And I've mentioned this many times, and I'll just end this segment with this, if you're on hold, stand by. When I was busted, it was such a big deal. For the first week of it, the local news met us at school before and after school and filmed us at school. The first white kids going to this black school. It was Beatty Park Elementary School in Columbus, Ohio, if anybody's from Columbus. But there you have it. A racist Joe Biden. He was racist then, he's racist now. He thinks that because Obama is articulate, good-looking, and takes a bath, that's so unusual for a black man that someone should write a book about it. Imagine, what is he, a book? The first black man that's good-looking, articulate, and takes a bath? That's a book to Joe Biden? And then here you have him arguing in favor of maintaining segregation in the United States in 1977. If that's not a racist man, I don't know what a racist man looks like. All right. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll be right back.
Making morning radio great again. I think you're going to really love it. It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
All right.
Pierre soundbites kept
Yep.
hitting the thing,
Yep.
the podium. When Biden was arguing about segregation, I heard the pounding in the back.
Yeah,
as well.
he was, wasn't he? A little bit. Yeah.
That's, she picked
Yeah.
up on his kind of thing.
Maybe she picked it up from him. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're new, make sure you subscribe. If you're on hold, hang in there. You're welcome to call in. The number 1-888-465-2631. The toll-free number is pinned to the top of the chat.
Construction at Banyan Boulevard between Dixie Highway and Olive Avenue. This traffic update is sponsored by ExpressPros.com. Use the experts on hiring for professionals.
Okay.
Visit SRGExpress.com to connect with professionals in accounting, IT, and engineering. The specialized recruiting group takes an individual approach, placing people in contract and full-time roles. SRGExpress.com. That's traffic. I'm Dory Don.
It's insanity. It's complete insanity.
Come out to the newly renovated poker room at PBKC. It's open daily for cash games, high-hand giveaways, mega bad beat jackpots, and big money tournaments. You can also play.
Is there anybody in the chat room who was bussed like I was? Where they bust you to integrate the schools? There's got to. I can't be the only one. Mm-hmm. Yes, welcome everyone. If you're new, a very big welcome to everyone who's new to the channel. I got a lot of feedback on the Right Side Broadcasting Brian Glenn exit. You went to a segregated school, hard times. Wow. The one went to an all-black high. Well, I went to an almost all-black high school. Wow, John. Look a little younger than that in the picture there. We will be back shortly. $34 and $77. Oh my goodness. All right. We'll be coming back in 38 seconds.
Business since 1988, and his services cover the east and west coast of Florida and everywhere in between. Tom Laporta can handle any type of roofing job too. Residential roofing and repair, commercial roofs, schools, municipal buildings, office buildings, emergency repairs. If it's roofing, Tom Laporta can do it. Call Tom Laporta right now on his cell phone, 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. And online, LaportaContracting.com.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig, celebrating 47 years on the...
All right, welcome back. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. Yeah, so Joe Biden spent the weekend telling you that Trump is racist. You know, and I laid out the racist things he's done in the past. President Trump, his golf club was the first golf club to allow black members in Palm Beach. That was a big deal. I remember when these Democrat-run golf clubs, it was talked about all the time here locally and local radio. We used to talk about it all the time. They didn't let blacks become members until Trump had his. Here you've got Joe Biden arguing for segregation and maintaining segregation. Segregation now, segregation forever kind of thing, right? Yeah. And you've got Donald Trump, who's the first golf club owner in Palm Beach to integrate it. And he wasn't commanded to, like, by federal troops, like the Democrats were, to end segregation. He just did it. But he's the racist? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Renee from Harlem.
Oh, hey, Renee.
Pathetic.
It is.
Of projecting your bigotry and your white supremacy. I mean, let's face it, this whole so-called talk about a civil war, it's not about a North and South. It's about a white people against everybody else. That's what you people are really upset about. You're mad about Mexicans, you're mad about black people, you're mad about everybody who's not white. That's
yeah, little projection there. So let me ask you your thoughts. Joe Biden thought that because Barack Obama took a bath, was articulate and good looking, that was so unusual that someone should write a book about Obama. That was in 2007. And what are your thoughts about that?
He must have hated Barack Obama so much that he would volunteer to be his vice president, and then he gets a black woman to be his vice president, and you can't even pronounce her name.
Kamala Harris?
Kamala,
yeah.
Name right, you ignorant racist.
Uh-huh. Well, see, what happened there is Joe Biden, see, this is really sad. This caller here, Renee from Harlem, this is really sad. So here you are showing allegiance to a man who hates you. I don't understand this. Joe Biden in the other clip I played was arguing to maintain segregation in America's public schools. What are your thoughts on that?
We've got proof of Trump's racism. It is on record. It's on tape. It's
Really? What tape? I'll play it on the air.
The Central Park 5. He wanted them dead.
No. First off, slow down. You and the Central Park 5. Those guys, excuse me, those guys confessed. So if somebody says that they should go to prison or face the death after they confessed, how's that his fault? They confessed.
Trump wanted them dead.
Excuse me. He leaves this out. They confessed. Everybody said that they should face the death penalty or life. They confessed to that crime. They did confess. Now they recanted, I guess and things. But they themselves said they did it. So when they say they did it, how can you attack someone who says, "Yeah, I agree with that"? They confessed.
Did not confess.
Yes, they did.
He's an elected official. That's how much he confessed.
Well, say some liberals did some things. But even if everything you said was true, it doesn't excuse that you're now supporting a man who was an advocate against the integration of the public schools, Joe Biden.
You and Richie the racist, you should give him a time slot, because you love him, man.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah, he's a racist just like you.
Mm-hmm. All right, take care. Have a good day. Oh, my goodness. Don't be angry at me, Renee. Be angry at your president. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Jeff from Maine.
Hey, Jeff.
I cannot believe you let him talk that long. That's just my opinion, Brian, and that's just ridiculous. That's how bad our education system is, because that is a direct result of the Democrat Party. They want division. They have done nothing for the black Americans. They never will. All they want to do is keep them where they are. And I just don't, and the more of them are waking up and joining the Trump bandwagon, by the way, because it's ridiculous what people like that are saying today after what history has been written about and how Trump opened the door and bent over backwards and helped so many black people in America.
No, absolutely. And, you know, in a little bit, I'm going to play some of the clips of Biden talking to the NAACP in Morehouse. You know, he's in a panic. They've lost, the way he was talking to blacks is like 50, 60 years out of date. He doesn't think that blacks are out there with college educations and having professional jobs. Very dated conversation he had.
Well, I really believe the Democrats are digging a hole the more they open their mouth and try to divide America. Because the American people have had, like Steve Bannon says, has had a belly full. They are sick of this.
Yeah.
We are a nation united, and MAGA is a uniting factor across the country.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We are for division, and we are for America first. Everything positive for our country is what Trump stands for, and we stand for.
In fact, it was the Republicans. It was the Republicans who ended segregation. It was the Republicans that passed the civil rights legislation and the Voting Rights Act and all that stuff. Not the Democrats, like Joe Biden. They were opposed to that.
They were opposed to it, exactly. And you know, I was raised in the '60s, late '60s and '70s, early '70s in elementary school. And I remember a black family moved in the street over, and they had 3 girls, and they went to school with us, and I never thought nothing of it. And that was pretty early on back then.
Do you know what Democrats do? When a black family moves into their neighborhood, do you know what a Democrat does?
What?
Moves.
Oh.
Yeah. They move.
I was pretty young, but I don't ever remember them being mistreated or anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that I know it was at least late '60s or early '70s, and I never thought anything different about them, you know, and we had some black folks later on in my life become council members and get involved in the government. You know, I don't understand today how that is still being acceptable behavior, like that last caller, Renee from.
Well, because liberal people in general don't like to take personal responsibility, and Renee is obviously a bum and a loser. And as opposed to saying that he's a bum or a loser, he tells himself he can't make it in the white man's racist world as a justification for him being a bum. That's what that's about.
You know, and there's a lot of black men, prominent black men that are very popular, very well known, that says the problem is there's no dads in the home.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's everywhere now. It's just not.
That's right. Well, listen, thanks. Good call, Jeff. I got to run for the break, but I appreciate the call. All right, take care. We'll take our last break of the first hour. Callers on hold, stand by.
The cold, hard truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 right here on The Steve Kane Show.
Yeah, Jeff's calls are always good. If you're on hold, hang in there. Yeah, I took that break late. Renee's miserable. Yeah, he is. Yeah. William Livingston, $10 super chat. Thank you. We want Renee. We want Renee. We want Renee to call to defend Slow Joe. Call in now. Well, he did, William. He did. That's amazing. You like that? William left that super chat, and then boom, Renee must have seen it and picked up the phone and called. That's absolutely amazing, William. Thanks for the super chat, by the way. Oh my goodness, hilarious. Welcome. If you're new to my channel, my name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Subscribe. And if you're new, welcome as well. Thanks for joining the program.
Hi, this is Maureen Cohen from Nutrition World Palm Beach Gardens. We're so excited to be celebrating 50 years here in South Florida. The Cohen family started their first health food store in 1972, and ever since have been one of the largest locally owned family-run health food stores in the area. We carry thousands of supplements like vitamins, minerals, herbs, homeopathics, diet and fitness, and so much more. All your favorite top quality brands. We also have tons of natural foods like gluten-free, paleo, and organic, as well as health and beauty aids, pet foods, and more. Visit Vanessa, Trish, Denson, Scott, and Bruce. They're here 7 days a week for all your family's natural health needs. So stop by Nutrition World at the northeast corner of PGA Boulevard and Prosperity Farms Road in the Carmine's Market Plaza by the Prosperity entrance. You can call us or text us anytime at 561-626-4377. That's 626-4377. Or check out our website at nutritionworld.com. Come see us 7 days a week at Nutrition World, Palm Beach Gardens.
This is Steve Kane. I want to tell you about my favorite restaurant in all of South Florida, Wings Plus in Coral Springs. Wings just the way you like them. Plump, tender, and delicious, crispy on the outside, succulent on the inside. Everything homemade, nothing comes out of a can. Dozens of specialty sauces that will make your mouth water. Wings Plus, located in Coral Springs, a mile west of University on the south side of Sample Road.
Here we go.
Take on the social justice warriors for breakfast. Now the Steve Kane Show is on the air.
Callers on hold, stand by. You know, with inflation hitting the prices of pretty much everything, there's one place where the prices are lower, and that's Friendly Tire in Margate. This is amazing. Friendly Tire in Margate. New tires out the door and on the road for as low as $70 a tire. They used to be $75, now they're $70, and these are for common-sized tires on some of the most common vehicles on the road today. New tires for as low as $70 a tire. Isn't that absolutely amazing? It is. So give Friendly Mike a call. Now remember, I say out the door and on the road because the price he quotes you over the phone, including that $70, you know, that includes everything. Balancing the tires, mounting the tires, even disposing of your old tires. Give him a call. He'll give you a quote right over the phone. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. Friendly Tire in Margate. All right, so just to recap, Joe Biden was trying to start a race war over the weekend with the NAACP and at Morehouse College. Let's go back to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air.
Hey, Brian. It's Sherry from Santa How are you?
Hey, what's up?
Hey, so back in the 70s, in elementary school, I don't know, I'm guessing 74, 75, there was one black in my school. When I hit middle school, junior high, there was one black girl in my school who became a cheerleader, but in the air you could sense that she was not accepted within the school. Now, that young lady was married into my family.
Yeah.
Back in the day. I've never had to be bused, ever.
Well, see, the thing about when you talk about because I went to elementary school in the 70s, okay, in the early 80s, that's when the schools were being desegregated, okay? They passed the laws requiring schools to end segregation, but then they found out that the schools were still segregated because kids went to the schools that were closest to their house in their neighborhood. So even though, with some rare exceptions, even though segregation had been ended, separate but equal, all that stuff was ended, the schools were still segregated. So they brought in busing. And when I was in my first couple of years of elementary school, we had one or two black kids in the school. I remember one girl, her name was Venus. Not Venus Williams, but her name was Venus. And there was this other guy, his name was Jay, who had the biggest afro you could imagine, because I remember we used to measure him like how tall he was without it. You know, like we'd measure his, you know, and all this stuff. We had two black. Now, by the time I was in high school, I went to a majority black school. I was the minority. And that's just the way it is. And segregation was really ended through busing in the 70s. And Joe Biden spent the 1970s trying to maintain segregation. He was passionate about it, and he was trying to get federal legislation to stop it. And that's how he spent his time. And for him to go around calling a man, Donald Trump, who's the first golf club owner in Palm Beach here in Florida, to allow blacks to join, a racist, when he spent his entire time back in that era trying to maintain segregation, it's got to be talked about and it's got to be exposed. He's a bigot. He hates black people, Biden.
They're debating, correct? Trump and Biden both.
That is correct, yes.
Okay. How sweet would it be to be able to play that in the debate?
Oh, it'd be beautiful. I would love to hear Joe Biden explain why he thought someone should write a book about Obama just because he's articulate and takes a bath. I'm curious.
Well, that's disgusting alone within itself to say something like that.
That's how little and low he thinks of African Americans, Joe Biden. That's a terrible thing he said about Obama.
Well, this Renee that called in, I mean, that is the perfect example of the victim mentality that they carry with them that also contributes to the division that is going on in society right now with the black and the white in a certain percentage, right? I mean, because they were suppressed for so many decades.
Well, you know, it's like, with Renee, if he's not oppressed by the man, how's he going to explain to his mother why he doesn't have a job or pays rent?
Because she probably doesn't have any expectations of it.
She's probably given up. Hey, listen, thank you for the call. I appreciate it. Good call. Made some good points. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is a racist calling.
Oh, yes.
Hey, hey, Renee, you got to get over this already, You got so much hatred in your heart. You're the racist, man. I mean, you wake up every morning and all you think of is black and white. I never get up in the morning and think of black and white until I hear you on the phone call me what you called me, which is the lowest thing you could call somebody. You got a president of the United States that gets up in front of college people yesterday saying, can you imagine the white man basically won't let you have water while you're waiting in line to vote?
Yeah, that's a new one. In Georgia, that's a new one.
Yeah, this guy is so divisive, it's disgusting, man. I mean, he is... I sat there and watched that Moorhead. I actually watched the whole speech. The guy hates... The guy is a hater, man. He's a divider and a hater, and he ran the opposite. And this guy is such a fool in New York to fall for this. Renee, you got more brains than that, man. I grew up when there was segregation, but not in New York City. For somebody to complain about segregation in New York City is a real joke. I never saw it. I saw it when I went south with my family because my aunt lived in Greensboro, North Carolina. Yeah, there was racism in the 60s and in the 50s.
Yeah, in the Democrat-controlled South, there was segregation.
But not in New York City.
No.
New York City was I never saw it. So for this guy, and it's ridiculous already, Brian. This president is so disgusting. He is such a divider. I can't stand it anymore. A couple of blacks had their backs turned on him.
Yeah.
So glad to see that.
But I'm not sure, okay, there were black graduates at Morehouse that had their backs turned on Biden, but do we know why? Was it over the Israeli war, or was it over something else? Why did they turn their backs on Biden? Has it been reported?
No, I know that the valedictorian got into that with that Palestine again. I mean, that had no area to put that. I'm sorry to say that valedictorian, although very educated and very smart guy, for him to come up with put that in there at the end was disgusting. You saw what he... I'd
like to see them find Israel and Gaza on an unlabeled map. They're so passionate about it, these college kids.
Yeah, it's a sad day in America that we got a guy in the White House that's a racist. That's the truth. Really, you should be calling him the racist, not Donald Trump.
Yeah, you know, the first president to invite a black man to the White House to have a meal and stay over was a Republican, Teddy Roosevelt. You know, and Democrats have a complete history of owning blacks, segregating blacks. Joe Biden has a personal history. He was, you know, Joe Biden really is quite possibly the last segregationist senator.
Listen, the professors at Morehead State yesterday must have amnesia. I heard them saying that Biden gave more to black colleges than anyone else. When President Trump was president, folks, he gave them 10 years worth of money for
And he wanted to make it permanent, but he couldn't do more than 10 years because every year the Democrats make the black colleges come and beg for money every year. Yeah.
Right. So this guy Renee is such a schmuck.
Yes.
It's crazy.
Yes.
Just get under my skin because it's not warranted, Renee. Renee, you're looking. I don't know what the hell you're seeing. I really don't know what you're seeing.
Well, one thing we know he's not seeing, and that's the one ads. All right, Richie, appreciate the call. Oh, man, great call so far today. We're starting off the week good. Now, when we get back, I'll play some of the race baiting that Biden did over the weekend, both at the Morehouse graduation and the NAACP. If you'd like to call in, please do. The number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you're calling from. 888-465-2631. And we've got a lot to cover. I'm going to try to finish up on Biden in the next segment or two because there's a lot of other issues that we've got to touch on as well, including the slander that they're throwing at Supreme Court Justice Alito. But there's a lot of other things on top of that. So I got to get things moving. All right. It's Monday morning, May 20th. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. Back right after this.
WSFS 104.3 HD.
Welcome, everyone. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. And everyone who's already subbed, please like the video. All right, let me cue up the next sound. All right. I'm cutting my coffee back in half starting today, and then when I'm done with the coffee, I'm moving on to I got the Fiji because it has electrolytes in it. I am so dehydrated again. I agree. You know, these segregated colleges should not exist. The historically black colleges, the HBCs, they call them. All right, guys. We'll be back in about 60 seconds.
or programmable thermostat when you subscribe to Sloman's low-cost monitoring service for 5 years. With the Sloman Shield, you can arm and disarm your system remotely, view your home from any smartphone or tablet, lock your doors, control your thermostat, even turn your lights on and off. To get your free security system plus your choice of a free indoor monitoring camera or programmable thermostat, call 833-283-5050 now. That's 833-283-5050, and make sure the next home to be burglarized isn't yours.
Have you put off buying new tires because you thought they were too expensive? Find friendly prices at Friendly Tire in Margate on both new and used tires. New tires as low as $70 a tire. That's out the door and on the road, because Friendly Tire doesn't charge you to balance the tire or mount the tire. They have thousands of used tires in stock too, starting at just $30. Call for a quote right over the phone. 954-977-9445.
5 seconds.
954-977-9445.
On the air since 1977, it's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
All right, it is Monday. Hour number 2 has begun, and of course Joe Biden is trying to cause racial divisions in our great country because, you know, he's losing. He's losing big because he's a corrupt failure, and he's a failure as a father. Both of his kids are junkies. He claims to be a financial failure, that he's broken over $800,000 in the hole in debt, you know, and he's a failure in the polls that you've seen. So he's out there trying to cause racial division, trying to get some of that black vote back, and he gave these 2 speeches. Now, I just want to play this clip from 07 again before we play the new stuff from yesterday. This is Joe Biden, Senator Joe Biden, in 2007, talking about Senator Barack Obama, who was running for president, and what makes Obama oh so unique. Listen, 07, Joe Biden.
First, sort of mainstream African American, who is articulate and bright and clean, and a nice looking guy. I mean, that's a storybook, man.
Okay, yeah, there you go. So Barack Obama is articulate, good-looking. He takes a bath. He's the first black man to do all these things. And it's so unusual, someone should write a book about this black man, Barack Obama, because he's the first one that's articulate, good-looking, and takes a bath. And by the way, many Democrats at the time had flip-outs over this, including Al Sharpton. I remember Al Sharpton says, what's he talking about? I bathe? That's right. So, you know, it was pretty nasty stuff. So let's get to Biden yesterday. This is Joe Biden. He's talking to the Morehouse graduates, which is one of those historically black colleges. I do have a question. Why do we still have racially segregated black colleges? I understand the original need for them, but why do we still have them? Do you know, this is not a joke, do you know that historically black colleges, which are the black colleges, right? Do you know that they have affirmative action quotas for white students? They do, because they get federal money, and some of these black colleges are very competitive to get into. But if you're white, you don't have to have the same SAT scores or GPA to get in, because they have affirmative action there. And I remember 60 Minutes about 15 or 20 years ago did a story on this, and these liberal black kids at these black colleges were so pissed off that affirmative action was being applied to white students. They said, why should they have lower grades and get in? I had to work hard to get in. Well, you know, it's pretty crazy. That's not a joke, it's true. So here's Biden yesterday talking to black graduates at Morehouse.
Today, you missed your high school graduation. You started college just as George Floyd was murdered.
Oh my goodness. You know, this is a big thing. You missed your high school graduation because of COVID. Whose fault was that? And this thing about George Floyd was murdered. He's got to say it like that. Murdered! Derek Chauvin, I promise you, was a Democrat. Do you think a cop in a liberal town like that was a Republican? I promise you, Derek Chauvin was a Democrat. So George Floyd was murdered by a Democrat. And the other cops that got in trouble around that, promise you, they were Democrats too. How do I know that? Well, liberal community, liberal town, civil servants. And if they were Republicans, oh boy, you would know it. The media would harp on that. And Biden would have mentioned it yesterday too.
Today. You missed your high school graduation. You started college just as George Floyd was murdered. And there was a reckoning on race. It's natural to wonder if democracy you hear about actually works for you. What is democracy? If black men are being killed in the street, what is democracy?
What about white women being killed by police? Talking about Ashley Babbitt. Right?
The promises still leave black communities behind. What is democracy? You have to be 10 times better than anyone else to get a fair shot.
Now, first off, she got to be Joe Biden. Is this speech one that he gave like back, 50 years ago? Blacks have to be 10 times better than white people to get a job these days? Where is that? Because if that's the case, there's some laws being broken. We have civil rights legislation preventing such things. So if anyone has Barack Obama or Joe Biden's ear, could you find out from Joe Biden, where are these places that are racially discriminating against blacks, where blacks have to be 10 times better than whites to get hired, according to Joe Biden? Because I would like to send the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department to these places he's referencing that are racially discriminating against African Americans who they require to be 10 times better than whites before they'll hire them. Biden apparently knows where these places are. Don't you wish Biden would tell us these businesses so we could not use them and challenge them?
What is democracy? You have to be 10 times better than anyone else to get a fair shot. And most of all, what does it mean, as we've heard before, to be a black man who loves his country, even if it doesn't love him back in equal measure?
Now, this is an amazing thing. That applause, you know who that was from? His own people. Not that many years ago, a line like that would have generated an applause from a black audience. Go back. We've really, see, the Democrats don't even know what black people are like anymore. Okay, they've lost touch with the pulse of all the American people, but mostly blacks. Talked about this a lot. On this program, I've said this many times. In the last few years, we have finally reached economic equality among all groups in this country. And blacks just don't think this way anymore. And that's why you're not getting a round of applause. Some of Biden's, I say Biden because of Obama, some of Biden's staff here are clapping along, and maybe some of these old-time race-baiting Black Caucus members that may be in the audience, but not the students.
And who loves his country, even if it doesn't love him back in equal measure.
Very few applause on that. That's huge.
Even if it doesn't love him back in equal measure.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Okay, then this next clip, he's talking about Georgia. Georgia, he's calling the state of Georgia racist. Now keep in mind, Georgia, they're so racist, they got a black woman in a black justice system that has arrested and got a mugshot of a white president of the United States. We're talking about Fannie, of course. So, but apparently they're very racist down there towards blacks, according to Biden. Now, let me pull this one up. This is a butte. Hold on, let me cue it up here. Biden on Georgia.
Today in Georgia, they won't allow water to be available to you while you wait in line to vote.
Okay, you're not allowed water while you're in line waiting to vote? Now, this is just something he made up. This is just something he made up. Or this is plagiarizing some speech from 1950 or 60-something, when the white Democrats were controlling Georgia. Now, most people, you know what he's talking about here? This is how old. This speech here is got to be some old plagiarized speech. Most people, they drink water. How do you drink water these days? Bottled water. That's right, bottled water, which is one of the biggest scams. But in our society, people pay for what comes pretty much free out of the faucet. But what he's talking about and what he means is, because I've heard this rhetoric years ago, okay? What he's saying is that if you're in a long line to vote on a hot Georgia day in November, that if you leave line to go and use a drinking fountain, they make you go to the back of the line. That's where that comes from. I've heard that before, long ago. Who the hell uses drinking fountains anymore? When is the last time you have used a drinking fountain? When is the last time you've seen a drinking fountain? So I'm curious where he plagiarized this from. People are just saying he's lying. He's lying. That's not the way it is. So is he saying that if I'm in line in Georgia on election day with a bottled water and I go to take a drink, someone's going to come to me and say I can't vote while I have this bottled water in line? Where's the press on this? Journalistic malpractice. Let's go back, finish it up.
Today in Georgia, they won't allow water to be available to you while you wait in line to vote in an election. What in the hell is that all about?
It's about BS, Joe. That's what it's about.
I'm serious. Think about it.
Yeah, I know. I am thinking about it, and that's the problem. I want to know where these bottled water police are in Georgia that won't let people hold or drink bottled water while they're in line to vote. Drinking fountains are so rare that we've got one down the hall here in our office building. It's dry. I don't even know if it's turned on. I made a YouTube video about the drinking fountain because it's so unusual to see. I'd love to know where he plagiarized that speech from, because I've heard that before long ago. There are no more drinking. They took the drinking fountain out, and they took the part about not getting back in line to try to update it, but plagiarized it is. All right, if you're on hold, stand by. We'll go to the phones after the break. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. My name is Brian Craig. Our number is toll-free from anywhere, 1-888-465-2631. We'll be right back.
Don't sit on the sidelines. Get in on the action. Call the Steve Kane Show live on air now. 888-GO-KANE-1. This is the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Brian Craig here. I've suffered with massive pain in my knee for years, but not anymore. It's all gone, thanks to Dr. Appleton and his laser away pain system. I'm in studio right now with Dr. Appleton. Dr. Appleton, how'd you do it?
Well, I treated your knee pain with laser. Treatment is simple and no side effect. I have robotic lasers that have a wonderful effect on joint pain. These are all FDA approved.
Now, you don't just help with knees. Tell the listeners what other areas you can help them with.
Any joint I can do. Shoulder pain, hip pain, sciatica, stenosis, arthritis, tendonitis, bursitis.
I left my coffee here Friday.
All the way up to the neck.
Dr. Appleton is a chiropractic physician, and with the laser away pain system, there's no injections, no surgery, and
no downtime.
He's open 6 days a week, and same-day appointments are available. Call right now for your free consultation. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And make sure to tell Dr. Appleton you heard about him on the radio.
When it comes to dental work, there's no one better than Dr. Gupta at Brighton Dental. But don't just take my word for it. This is Richie the bus driver. He called in on the air to share his experience with Dr. Gupta.
You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Richie. Dr. Gupta. I go 139 miles to this guy. I had a broken tooth. He fixed it. It was supposed to be temporary. It lasted 2 years. course, he put dentures in my mouth that are a lot cheaper than anybody else. And he's excellent and no pain. I recommend this guy. To me, he's the best ever. So I want to get that out of the way.
Listen to Richie the Bus Driver. Go see Dr. Gupta at Brighton Dental. 954-922-4633. 954-922-4633.
We'll be back shortly, guys. If you're on hold, stand by.
Are you exhausted after work with no energy left in the tank to give your family? Are you having a midday crash on a daily basis? Women, are menopause symptoms like hot flashes, anxiety, and depression
We'll be back
your
after
daily
this.
life feel far more difficult than it should? Men, do you feel like you are aging far beyond what you should? Is your sexual life and relationship suffering because of disappointments in the bedroom? Then take action and let our medical team at Lighthouse Medical Center help you stop the symptoms that are holding you back. We use all natural hormone optimization therapies with precision technology to help solve your problematic symptoms. Our family-owned practice has had the honor of serving our South Florida community for over 71 years. Call us right now and let our medical team get you optimized and feeling the way that you should. Life is too short to be running at less than 100%. You and your family deserve the best version of you. Call us at 754-222-6642 or visit us at lighthousemedicalcenter.com to schedule your consultation today.
Now back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. Listen in the Palm Beaches on 95.9 FM, the Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM, hear us in Boca on 95.3 FM, Fort Lauderdale on 96.9 FM, and anywhere in the world at TrueOldiesFLA.com.
All right, we're back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. You know, I talk to listeners. This is amazing. I really appreciate this. We're on a whole bunch of radio stations. You just heard the list. You know, there are listeners to this program. They have long drives to work. A lot of people really commute. They really do go far, and they'll listen to us on one of our stations. And then when they get out of range of that station, they'll switch to another one that we're on. Of course, it would be easier if they just put us on all radio stations. You know, I wouldn't mind that, but that's pretty cool. And those of you that do that, thank you so much. Now, before we go back to the phones, hang in there if you're on hold. I want to ask you this question. Do you have neuropathy? You know, it's possible you have neuropathy and you do not even know it. Of course, I'm talking about Lighthouse Medical Center. I'm going to go through the neuropathy symptoms. And by the way, the treatment at Lighthouse Medical Center for neuropathy will rid you of these symptoms. But if you have any of these symptoms, you may have neuropathy. You should go to Lighthouse Medical Center, have them take a look. Hopefully you don't. But if you do, they've got a treatment that works. Here's some of the symptoms, the most common ones. Numbness, pain, burning, tingling in the hands and feet, muscle weakness, muscle twitching, dizziness, the feeling of pins and needles in the hands and feet, no feeling at all in the hands or feet. If you have any of those symptoms, you may have neuropathy. If you have neuropathy, you have those symptoms, you know it. Some have all the symptoms. Some have multiple symptoms at once. Some have them in rotation throughout the day. It's just a nightmare. Lighthouse Medical has been in practice for 75 years in Pompano with the same family of healthcare professionals, and they have a neuropathy treatment that works. I'm going to give you the number. Now, when you call, make sure you tell them you heard about them on the radio, because then you can take advantage of their no-charge consultation. Here's the number, 754-222-6642. 754-222-6642. And online, lighthousemedicalcenter.com. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Dave in Boca.
Yes, Dave in Boca. What's on your mind?
I'm calling in reference to the water story that you just spoke about. There was an incident where they were giving out water bottles that had political, endorsements on them on these lines. And that's not allowed. You're not allowed to have the political things within a certain distance of the polling place.
Do you know which party did that? Democrats or Republicans?
I don't know what the details.
Yeah, I'm sure it was Democrats. So that's interesting. So they were giving out bottled water in line to vote somewhere, and the label was a political label on who to vote for. Yeah, that's a clear violation of the law. But you could take the label off and hand out the bottled water or hand out Zephyr Hills or something.
Exactly. It had nothing to do with drinking water. It was pushing the political candidate to the water, so you vote for me.
Textbook propaganda.
Right. That's it.
All right, appreciate the call. Man, do we have smart people in this audience? Well, not all of them are, if you heard Renee's call earlier. But that's a smart guy right there. All right, so we got the truth about the water. Yeah, you can drink water in line, but you can't drink water. You can't hand out water that says vote Biden on it, all right? Okay, so he went on. This is Joe Biden talking to the black students, many of which had their backs turned to him. Here he is. Joe Biden continues race baiting at Morehouse.
Clear. What happens to you and your family when old ghost in new garments seize power? Extremists come for the freedoms you thought belonged to you and everyone.
What do you say? Old ghost in new garments come to power. That has to be plagiarized. When old ghost and new garments come to power. Does anyone know where that's from? My goodness. I remember I had a professor in college that had this program where they ran all the papers through to find words and phrases and sentences that were plagiarized. Any of you know? This is the plagiarizer in chief right here. He's gotten in trouble for it in the past, but that's a strange thing to say.
What happens to you and your family when old ghost in new garments seize power? Extremists come for the freedoms you thought belonged to you and everyone. Today in Georgia, they won't allow water to be available to you while you wait in line to vote.
Yeah, well, our nice caller from Boca, he exposed that one. Sorry, Joe, you're a liar.
What in the hell is that all about?
Well, we just found out thanks to our last call. I'll tell you what it's about, Joe. I'm sure it was the Democrats. We're handing out bottles of water with political things on them. Vote for such and such candidate. You can't do that.
I'm serious. Think about it. And then the constant attacks on black election workers who count your vote. Insurrectionists who storm the Capitol with Confederate flags are called patriots by some. Not in my house. Black police officers, black veterans protecting the Capitol were called another word, as you recall.
Okay. Now, this one here, there was one guy with a Confederate flag, which, by the way, is a Democrat flag. He says that this is one of the... What I like is, growing older, although this wasn't that long ago, you get to see how Democrats rewrite history. I question everything I've learned about this country's history, living through a lot of history, when you see how they... So then Biden says that the J6ers were calling black police officers the N-word. Where's the audio tape of that? There's endless audio and video of the Capitol breach. Have any of you heard any J6ers calling black police officers in the Capitol the N-word? I know of one incident with a black police officer. He shot dead a white woman named Ashley Babbitt. But do you know of any, have you seen this video? If you have it, I will play it on the air. If someone can give me, during this show today, audio with video of J6ers calling black police officers the N-word during the Capitol breach, I will play it on the air. All right, let's finish with this. What a jerk.
Confederate flags are called patriots by some. Not in my house. Black police officers, black veterans protecting the Capitol were called another word, as you recall. They also say out loud, these other groups, immigrants poison the blood of our country.
Now, okay, now this one here, like they're trying to, like we're quoting Hitler here. What he's referring to Trump, and what he has said was, and Biden should agree with this since he's got 2 kids who are junkies. He said they're poisoning our kids, the illegals, with the fentanyl, which has killed more people than Al-Qaeda killed on September 11th many times over.
Like the Grand Wizard and fascists said in the past. But you know and I know, we all bleed the same color.
Really? Is that what he and Robert Byrd used to talk about? Robert Byrd, I know most of you know this, but not everyone does. Robert Byrd was a senior Democrat senator. Joe Biden eulogized him at his funeral. And his funeral was when, who was president when Byrd died? It was Obama, wasn't it? Was it Clinton or Obama? I think it was Obama. Robert Byrd, he wasn't a Grand Wizard. He was a little higher than that. He was the Grand Kleagle. There's very few of those. A Grand Kleagle of the Ku Klux Klan. And this guy here, Joe Biden, who's addressing these black students at Morehouse, he eulogized a Klansman at his funeral. It's pretty sick.
In America, we're all created equal. Extremists close the doors of opportunity. Strike down affirmative action. Attack the values of diversity, equality, and inclusion. I never thought when I was graduating in 1968, as your honoree just was, we talked about, I never thought I'd be a president of time when there's a national effort to ban books. Not to write history, but to erase history. They don't see you in the future of America.
And we don't see blacks in the future of America, he says. What books are they banning, by the way? What books have been banned, Joe Biden? Books have not been banned. Even here in Florida, they've not banned books. That's a big lie. There's a state group that approves books to be part of the Florida curriculum. And what they've changed this is, if they don't buy a particular book and approve it for the curriculum, they consider that to be a banned book. That's not the case.
But they're wrong. To me, we make history, not erase it. We know black history is American history.
Okay, there he goes. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, my goodness. A speech filled with misrepresentations and lies. I mean, my goodness. All right, we'll take our break for the bottom of the hour and be right back.
Making morning radio great again. I think you're gonna really love it. It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Well. This is insanity. Let's see.
I know we have Jupiter Joe, I think.
Tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow, I'm pretty sure. I'll double check before.
Yeah.
Next week, I think Thursday.
Yeah.
You're all future leaders, every one of you, graduating today. And that's not hyperbole. You're future leaders, all of you. You'll face complicated, tough moments. In these moments, you listen to others. But you'll have to decide, guided by knowledge. My name's Joe Biden, and I'm a lifetime member of the NAACP.
Experiences serving at the high.
And the erectionists who...
We also treat chronic back pain, ankle, knee, hip, and shoulder pain. Call for a free consultation with us today. 754-222-6642. 754-222-6642. That's 754-222-6642.
Hey, my true oldies listeners, John Tesh here with some intelligence for your retirement this time. When you're looking for a retirement advisor, you don't trust and experience are two big qualities to look for. And as it turns out, my friend Jupiter Joe Thomas possesses both of these. Whether you're in retirement or looking to retire, I want you to give local expert Joe Thomas a call. Here's the number, 561-743-0999, or even simpler.
Welcome, everyone. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, okay?
Or remember, go to JupiterJoe.com. That's JupiterJoe.com.
Tom Laporta here from Laporta Contracting, Roofing, and Building Restoration. I am pleased to say our relationship with the Steve Kane Show and the show's listeners keeps getting stronger and stronger. The Steve Kane Show listeners are truly the best customers we have ever had. They are courteous, intelligent, honest, and quite a joy to work with. We have completed thousands of projects for the listeners, from repairs, single-family homes, large HOA complexes, and churches, with great success, and every one of those customers are like family. We have installed all kinds of roofs, from asphalt shingles, clay, and concrete tile, standing metal seam, slate tile, and flat roof systems. So come on, and let our family take care of your family. Call me on my cell at 954-604-4602, or find us on the web at laportacontracting.com. The number again is 954-604-4602.
When you need lab work, don't waste hours and hours waiting at the doctor's office or one of those big labs. Go to Any Lab Test Now of Boca and Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs. Their prices are guaranteed to be the lowest you'll find anywhere. No appointment, doctor's order, or prescription is needed, and you're in and out in 15 minutes or less. They offer every lab and blood work your doctor could order. They even have drug testing and STD testing. Take control of your health care and visit Any Lab Test Now of Boca and Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs. There's lots of Any Lab Test Nows around, but these are the only two advertising on our radio station. So don't use the rest. Only go to Any Lab Test Now of Boca and Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs. And make sure you tell them you heard about them on the radio.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig, celebrating 47 years on the...
All right, callers on hold. Stand by. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. Steve Kane joining us. Hey, Steve. Oh, you with us? Did we lose you? No? Okay. Well, oh, there you are. Are you there now, Steve? Okay. We got you. Now, Biden said something that actually is very concerning. Before we get started, call us on hold, stand by. I want to play this clip. This is Joe Biden speaking to the NAACP, and this one has me concerned. There could be a national crisis going on. Let me play this, and I'll tell you what it is.
He calls and the erectionists who stormed Capitol Hill patriots.
Okay. Apparently, according to Joe Biden, he's talking about these erectionists. There are sexually aroused men with erections that are attempting to take over our government. Listen, this is very concerning.
Calls and the erectionists who stormed Capitol Hill patriots.
Yeah, so who are these sexually aroused men with full erections that are trying to seize control of our government that he's talking about, and what has them so sexually aroused? I don't. Did you see this in the news yet, Steve?
I did not.
Oh my goodness, erect men, sexually. In this day and age, I'm curious what has them so turned on.
Talking about
some horny guys are trying to take over the country, and they have full erections. That's what he's talking about.
Come on.
He said erectionist. Listen, what else is there? What's an erectionist?
He calls the erectionists who stormed Capitol Hill patriots.
Yes. So I don't know. What else is it? Is there another type of erectionist? Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. It's crazy.
Disgusting human being.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. All right, you want to take some calls? What do you want to do?
Let's do that. I'm getting feedback in my headset. If that isn't,
You won't now. All right, and that should be gone. All right, let's. Well, it's gone now, right? It's gone now, right? It's gone now. All right, our number. Yes. Oh my goodness. Now can you hear me, Steve? Earth to Steve. Okay. Okay. All right, our number, we'll try to get this going. 1-888-465-2631. Okay, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. It's Ben popping out.
Hey, Ben. Are you familiar with this? Who are these men with full erections trying to take over our government that Biden's worried about?
Probably Hunter Biden. You know, I think that's the only person I can probably think of. I mean, what he did at Morehouse, and I also, by the way, you know, they used to chalk up his misspeaking to being having a speech impediment when we on camera for 50 years, and it's only in the later part of his career, let's say the last 5 years, that this speech impediment has encroached. So, but in regards to what he was saying at Morehouse, I mean, this is everything he said, you were right, was a mistruth, a distortion, a twisting, a revisionist. They're so good at propaganda. This is how they keep so many of their constituents and their interest groups and coalitions under the Democratic Party.
But you know what though? When I played that or some of those earlier, the applause, the things he said for applause lines didn't get very much applause. You could tell, you know. So that old rhetoric isn't playing as well as it used to.
No, and it's totally an act. Like, you know, he's a weakened people man, right? But then he goes and tries to make these grand speeches with these intonations and the rising of his voice, and he's trying to be like Barack Obama. He's trying to be like, you know, say what you want, Barack Obama was a good orator. And Biden tries to do this thing where he tries to sound so much more like ceremonious and important.
I'm going to disagree with you a little bit there. A couple things. People that suffer from severe cognitive issues like he has, like Alzheimer's, they try to sound with it, and to do that they come off angry because they think when they're angry they look like they're awake and with it, as opposed to looking like pissed off and out of control. And that's where that comes from. And a lot of those things fell flat because those were applause lines that he didn't get applause for.
No, the black men especially hate him. You know, he's losing that group. You know, he's performing the worst among Black America than any other Democrat president in the modern era since they've tried to go after that as a voting group. You know, so no one likes.
Hold on. Yeah, go ahead, Steve.
The blacks seem to have his number at this point, and I've still got voices in my headset.
Well, I don't know, Steve. I'm not there to fix it, but I'm doing my best over here. Okay, all right. I just don't want the whole show to be Earth to Major Tom. But no, listen. And a lot of that yelling was supposed to. One of the reasons he was yelling too, he was supposed to have huge applause, and those applause lines, his loud talking was supposed to be drowned out by the applause from the students that he wasn't getting.
But we've seen him do that a lot. Like, for instance, remember the red sermon coming up to the 2022 midterms where he had the two Marines on either side of him, and you know, every time there's these solemn occasions, he tries to ham it up, right? Like he overacts, and no one buys it because he's a weak, feeble man.
Yeah,
you know, he's not a tough guy, so it just falls flat. But you're right. Also, Black America is just not happy with him because I think Black America is really more practical than your like affluent white liberal, because they care about things like the economy
this speech. What this speech is, by the way, your sound problems should be fixed now, Steve. Are they? No, I'm guessing not because I'm not getting a response. Okay. Well, it's going to be a wonderful show. The other thing, though, about this, and I think this is an important point to be made. This speech is a very dated speech. Biden's outlook on what it's like to be black in America today is from like 50 years ago, when the civil rights movement had just concluded and blacks were still working their way into society in different levels. It's a 50-year-old speech. He doesn't understand that blacks and white, it's all equal now.
But that's like two parts. Like one, his brain is still stuck like 20, 30 years ago, right? I was talking about this with my brother-in-law. He hasn't upgraded. There's the reason he keeps getting caught in all these tall tales where he says, "Oh, my uncle got eaten by cannibals."
Yeah.
I grew up in this community. I grew up in that community. He grew up in a time where a politician can get away with telling these tall tales because no one can fact check them, and he hasn't upgraded his.
Well, and when politicians used to talk, they weren't talking to as many because you didn't have. When they were talking to these small groups, it was just for the people in the room. Now it's international audience because of the internet. All right, thanks for the call. Is everything okay now, Steve, or not? Okay, well, I'm going to assume not because Steve's not replying. All right. Listen, we're going to take our last break of the second hour, and there's much more. Your calls are certainly welcome on anything I brought up so far, but I've got some other things I have not touched on yet that we've got to start getting into as well. Our number, toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. We'll be right back.
The cold, hard truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 right here on The Steve Kane Show.
To celebrate.
Steve, can you hear me? I think they're going to try to. I think the headset's loose on their end, is what I think.
That's what it has to be, because I don't see anything else that would be. It'd be either of these, but it shouldn't matter. Well,
I don't want everybody to hear what they're talking off the air,
yeah,
but
yeah. I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Let's see if they're still connected. Yeah, they're still on.
Yeah, well, we can hear them, so they're on. Can you hear me, Steve? I don't know. Maybe take the headphones off. Let's see.
I was going to say, the only other thing I could think of was disconnecting them and let them reconnect, too.
Well, they're not getting back to me, so let's try. Can you hear me? Steve, can you hear me?
Thank you.
Steve, can you hear me? You there? Can you hear now? Nope. All right.
MedicalCenter.com to schedule your consultation today.
We take on the social justice warriors for breakfast. Now,
All right, we are back. 47 minutes after the hour. I'm Brian, Steve Kane Show. We're trying to get Steve's things worked out. They're not worked out yet, but the show must go on, and we'll continue. Now, got some new things I want to touch on that are very important. But before I do, Father's Day, the countdown to Father's Day has begun, and the best place to do your Father's Day shopping is mypillow.com. There's not a MAGA dad out there that wouldn't like any of these great things that Mike Lindell is offering. You can save up to 80% off with our promo code Kane at checkout. The $25 extravaganza continues on many of the top MyPillow products, including the slippers and the pillows. 50% off the MyPillow coffee. There's just so many specials. 50% off the MyPillow mattress topper. And I got to tell you, get your dad that mattress topper. It comes in every mattress size. All you need to know is what size bed your dad sleeps on. But remember, dad is also your husband, your grandpa. It could be your son if he's got kids. It comes in every mattress size. It will give them the best night's sleep they've had in their life each and every night for the rest of their lives. I've been sleeping on that mattress topper for years. 50% off with our promo code Kane at checkout. Now remember, you can use our promo code Kane on all the specials there, and free shipping on all orders site-wide over $75 with our promo code Kane at checkout. You can also order by phone toll-free, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879, promo code Kane, K-A-N-E. All right, now before I get into this stuff with Alito, this is important to me, and maybe I'm the only one it's important to, but it's Tulsi Gabbard was on with Steve Bannon the other day. Let me share this. Let me play a little bit. This is Tulsi Gabbard with Steve Bannon the other day.
What I took away from these experiences serving at the highest levels of Democrat politics in Washington, and why I am warning every American that if President Biden and Kamala Harris are allowed to stay in power, we will see the end of freedom in America and the end of democracy in this country.
Wow, hold on. You're saying that if they're reelected, you're going to see the end of democracy? I mean, Ray Dalio just said the other day, hey, it's going to be a civil war, everything's going to happen. You're just saying it's the end of democracy if they're reelected?
And it's not a guess, Steve.
Okay. Now, I've said this for a long time. I'm going to say it again, and I'm going to explain myself before I get into other issues. Tulsi Gabbard is a Trojan horse. She's got all the right buzzwords. Don't trust her. Do not believe her. Remember this about her. First Democrat debate last time around, Kamala Harris cleaned Biden's clock, bringing up many of the things I brought up earlier in the show, his old racist segregationist past. He was wounded severely in that first debate by Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris briefly became like the front runner. The Bidens personally brought Tulsi Gabbard into a fake presidential campaign to come in, okay, and clean Kamala's clock in the second debate, and she did. She did a personal favor for the Bidens in that second debate. Now all of a sudden, the man, if it weren't for Tulsi Gabbard, Biden may have been out of that race. And I know it seems crazy now because Kamala is so stupid. But she was so prepared. You go after 9 o'clock. Do not do this now. After 9 o'clock. Go and look at the first Democrat debate and watch the exchanges between Biden and Kamala. He was done. She was the front runner. They bring Tulsi in. She destroyed Kamala, saved Biden, and then all of a sudden in the next poll, Kamala was polling at like 1% and she dropped out. And then Tulsi soon after dropped out because her campaign was fake. So now she tells us if the man who she put in office, if it weren't for Tulsi Gabbard, Biden may not have gotten the nomination. Very good chance he wouldn't have. I remember the look on his face during that debate with Kamala. He was really, it was brutal. She saved Joe Biden. Now she's telling Bannon that there'll be no more democracy. How did she go from being personal friends and saving his candidacy, which allowed him to become president, to there'll be no democracy? You know, a lot of times, a lot of conservatives, and there's no one a bigger fan of Steve Bannon than me. I love Steve Bannon. He's awesome. But he's not Trump, which means he's not always right. Trump is always right. Bannon, not. Tulsi Gabbard, she says all the buzzwords. She's in the Hawaiian National Guard. I think she's a lieutenant colonel. A lot of conservatives like that. She likes to make videos of her at the gun range and stuff and surfing. She's a Trojan horse who's trying to infiltrate our MAGA movement. Do not trust Tulsi Gabbard. Don't believe anything she says. She is a radical, Obama-like extreme leftist. And, there are many people trying to infiltrate the MAGA movement. And I know that I'm the only one who says this about Tulsi Gabbard. Well, I'm sorry. I'm not going to go along with the crowd on this. She's a Trojan horse. Stay away from her. Bannon should know better. Now, I want to talk about Alito. The Democrats have given up on Clarence Thomas. They were trying to paint Clarence Thomas as financially corrupt and taking bribes, none of which was true, and they've not been able to run him out of the Supreme Court. Now they're going after Alito. They've got this thing about the upside-down American flag. He can't be on the court because of that. Democrats have been advocating for the burning of the American flag for as long as I can remember. And I've always been opposed to the burning of the American flag as a form of political protest. Burning of the American flag is how you're supposed to properly dispose of the flag. I learned that in Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts, although I've never done that. I just keep the flags. I fold them up and keep them on a shelf in the garage. But now all of a sudden he is shown disrespect to the flag. Since when have Democrats accused someone of disrespecting the American flag? Democrats tell you that the American flag is the symbol of everything wrong on the planet. But the story is, and I'm not sure how true this is, but they're saying that Alito's wife flew the flag upside down after January 6th or on January 6th, whichever. It doesn't matter. So what? Now they're trying to run him off the court. And they're trying to get an issue going. Now, we're too close to the election, even if there was a vacancy, for Biden to get a nominee and through the process and confirmed. It wouldn't work. It's too close to the election. Although the Democrats run the Senate, who knows what they would do. But as you could see over the weekend with Biden's race baiting, he's doing a lot to try to go after some groups. So what he wants is he wants to nominate someone for the Supreme Court to replace Alito. So they're coming out with this upside-down American flag, which I'm not even sure it's true that his wife did it, but even if she did, so what? Everyone on the Supreme Court and every federal bench are people from politically connected families. How do you think you get a presidential nomination? You're connected. They're all political. Like Kavanaugh was part of Kenneth Starr's team, okay? They're all connected. That's how they get the nomination to federal benches. That's just how it is. Okay. But they want him to be able to make a pick to run on, even though it wouldn't get through. So what type of person do you think he would pick? And what I mean by that is, which check mark boxes would he check off? Would Biden nominate someone to replace Alito who is like a dreamer? They used to be illegal. Now they're legal and they're a lawyer or maybe a judge, and he wants to put a dreamer on the Supreme Court? Would he nominate a transgendered woman to the Supreme Court? He's not going to get anyone on the court. Alito's not going anywhere. He's done nothing wrong, just like Clarence Thomas didn't. But they're trying to get a narrative going. They're in a panic because Trump's about to be cleared and probably found not guilty in New York, so they don't know what to do. So they're trying to manufacture some other things, so they're after Alito now with the upside-down flag. But that's what they want. They want him to be able to nominate someone for the Supreme Court that fits one of these victim groups to hopefully get some people to show up to the polls. And I would not, and I'm not kidding, I would not put it past Biden to nominate a transgender dreamer either. Transgender dreamer to the Supreme Court. I would not be surprised. But I'll tell you, Merrick Garland was nominated to the court by Obama. The Senate didn't hear it, thank the Lord. And that guy, Merrick Garland, is a bad dude, isn't he? Oh, my goodness. Could you imagine if that guy had a lifetime appointment to the Supreme Court? You want to talk about tyranny. Oh, boy. Now, there's a new Trump ad out. Trump posted this on his Truth Social. I'm going to play this in the next hour. You may have heard of it, the God Made Trump ad. Have you heard about this? I'm going to share it with you after our next break here at the top of the hour. It's pretty good. It's kind of like a spinoff of Paul Harvey. I don't know. Is Paul Harvey Jr. still alive? I don't know. And did he voice this? I don't know. But it's a pretty good ad. I'm going to play that in the next hour. Hopefully we'll get Steve back. Now, I want to ask you, are you in pain on this Monday morning? Maybe over the weekend you've been a little more active than you were during the week, and you've woken up on this Monday morning and you're sore, aching, or in some type of pain. Go see Dr. Appleton. Go see him today. Walk-ins are welcome, okay? Walk-ins are welcome. Appointments are never needed, even on Saturdays. But if you've woken up in pain, don't wait till Saturday. Go see Dr. Appleton today. Take advantage of his laser wave pain treatment. Dr. Appleton's laser wave pain treatment, which he performs all of them himself, works. He's rid me of pain 5 times. The laser wave pain treatment not only works, it repairs the damage in your body that is causing you pain. That's why after he's treated me, the pains not only are gone, but they haven't returned because it repaired the part of my body that was causing the pain. You know, the arthritis I had on my finger, not only did it rid me of that pain, it is not returned. And I remember when I got the examination from Dr. Appleton, he said, it's arthritis, Brian. I was like, oh, because I was like, I'm going to have that forever. And I don't. The pain has not returned. It's amazing. Give him a call, 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. Give him a call and say bye-bye to your pain. All right, 2 hours down, 1 to go. If you'd like to call in about anything we brought up so far, please do. The number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. My name's Brian Craig. You are listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. Back after this.
WSFS 104.3 HD3 Miramar, WIRK 103.1 HD3 Indiantown, and heard in Broward on 96.9 FM, Boca Raton on 95.
All right, can you hear Steve?
Yep.
All right.
Tournaments. You can also play your favorite table games like Ultimate Texas Hold'em or 3-card poker with just a $5 minimum, and that is 7 days a week. For more information or to see the tournament schedule or the Bad Beat Jackpot, go to pbkennelclub.com. It's crazy the things you can do with a smartphone or tablet these days. Stream movies, take pictures, order groceries. Heck, you can even make yourself look like a unicorn.
Welcome, everyone. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, all right?
Keep your family safe. Just call 833-283-5050 and you can get a
All right, we're back. Steve, you back with us? You back with us, Steve? Okay, good. All right, I had to put in the OL on that mic. That's what the thing is. All right, we are back. So much to cover, so much going on. There's a new Trump ad I wanted to play. Now, I'll give out the numbers. If you'd like to call in, please do. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. There's a new ad out. It sounds like Paul Harvey Jr. It's called God Made Trump. I found this. Trump posted this on his Truth Social. Okay? So I'm not sure if Trump had this made, the Trump campaign, or just some good MAGA people had it made. But let's play it, and then we'll talk about it.
1946, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a caretaker. So God gave us Trump. God said, I need somebody willing to get up before dawn, fix this country, work all day, fight the Marxists, eat supper, then go to the Oval Office and stay past midnight at a meeting of the heads of state. So God made Trump. I need somebody with arms, strong enough to rustle the deep state, and yet gentle enough to deliver his own grandchild. Somebody to ruffle the feathers, tame cantankerous World Economic Forum, come home hungry, have to wait until the First Lady is done with lunch with friends, then tell the ladies to be sure and come back real soon, and mean it. So God gave us Trump. I need somebody who can shape an axe, but wield a sword, who had the courage to step foot in North Korea, who can make money from the tar of the sand, turn liquid to gold, who understands the difference between tariffs and inflation, will finish his 40-hour week by Tuesday noon, but then put in another 72 hours. So God made Trump. God had to have somebody willing to go into the den of vipers, call out the fake news for their tongues as sharp as a serpent's. The poison of vipers is on their lips, and yet stop. So God made Trump. God said, I need somebody who will be strong and courageous, who will not be afraid or terrified of the wolves when they attack, a man who cares for the flock, a shepherd to mankind who won't ever leave nor forsake them. I need the most diligent worker to follow the path and remain strong in faith and know the belief of God and country, somebody who's willing to drill, bring back manufacturing and American jobs, farm the lands, secure our borders, build our military, fight the system all day, and finish a hard week's work by attending church on Sunday. And then his oldest son turns and says, Dad, let's make America great again. Dad, let's build back a country to be the envy of the world again. So God made Trump.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I like that new ad. I don't know who did that ad. If anybody knows who was behind that ad, let me know. I mean, that sounds like Paul Harvey. So is Paul Harvey Jr. still alive? Who sounded just like his dad? I don't know. But how could you take issue with any of that? I like that part of the beginning. His 40-hour work week ends on Tuesday. Oh, my goodness. You know, he had two speeches over the weekend, okay, President Trump. They were both spectacular. The first one was Friday in Minnesota.
Turn up for that.
Well, it wasn't a rally. He was speaking to a group, so it was, you know, it was like a ticket. It was one of those rubber chicken things. So it was a full house there, but it wasn't a rally, so it wasn't like 100,000. And then he was on Saturday. Okay, all right, okay, good. And then on Saturday, it was he spoke to the NRA convention. And so that was obviously, you know, also a private event. Neither of them were rallies, but it was an incredible speech. In fact, I watched them both, and on Friday in Minnesota, he started talking about, and this is something that the media they don't care for this too much, but he wants to require a drug test for Biden before the debate.
Yeah, I love that. I saw that.
And I don't know how serious that is or if he's joking. Because we know Biden's not going to take a drug test, right? I mean, you know, he's not going to take a drug test. I'd take.
Joke.
Yeah, it's a joke. But, any lab test now of Boca and Coral Springs, I'm sure they'd volunteer their services to do the Biden drug test at the debate location. But the big takeaway from that was indeed the drug test. And it started a discussion, even though see, this is the thing about this, okay? Even though it may have been a joke, it started a discussion about it, okay? And everybody knows they found the cocaine at the White House. And last week they found cocaine at the Capitol, not long after Joe Biden was there. I don't know about whose cocaine it was at the Capitol. I mean, to have cocaine in the White House would have to be somebody from the first family to get through the security with cocaine because they have drug-sniffing dogs and such. But a discussion has begun about it. And, since they found the cocaine at the White House, there's been a major change in the way that Biden carries himself. He does not have the energy that he used to have at events because whoever was smuggling that stuff in is probably having a more difficult time. And then after Trump was talking on Friday about drug testing Biden before a debate, which I'm not sure, because I don't know if a drug test would work. Because do you have to test for the drugs that you think he might be taking? What if he's taking something and you're not testing for it? Would it come up positive or negative? Doing a drug test is risky. I don't know about drug tests.
Yeah, I mean, Biden wouldn't do it.
No, he wouldn't because he's on drug. I mean, I would take a drug test right now. I would take a drug test right now or any time, and it's always going to be the same, negative. Okay? I don't do drugs, and I can take a drug test all day, all night. You can take my hair, you can take my urine. I've got nothing to fear. Because I don't do drugs. But Biden, on the other hand, is fearful of it. And because he's afraid of getting a positive. That's it. I mean, that's why else would he not take it? I'm sure Trump would agree to take a drug test along with him.
Tells the whole story.
Exactly. But Biden released a video over the weekend. I'll have to describe it to you because it's a visual. I can't show it to you on the radio. But he did a video over the weekend where everyone says he looks like he's incredibly high. Have you seen the video with the eyes? Oh my goodness. Okay. He did this video that they released over the weekend, and not only does he not blink, his eyes are wide open. It's kind of like if you've ever had eye surgery and they have to clamp your eyes open. Right, you had LASIK. Did you have LASIK too? We both had LASIK.
I had LASIK.
Okay, when we had LASIK, they had to clamp our eyes open, you remember? To do the LASIK procedure. And his eyes are as wide open as if they've been clamped open. It's very weird, very creepy. And the immediate reaction people are having is that he's high on something. And I don't think so. I watched it a few times and looked at some still pictures. I think he's had his eyes done. I think they did some work on his eyes or gave him some hardcore injections, some fillers to try to make him look a little younger. And they...
procedure that they do.
Well, whatever they did, they OD'd him on it. If they did it with like fillers, they gave him too many. If they did it with surgery, they pulled back the skin too much. I mean, this new video, I'm sure you guys will see it on TV today. It's online. I wish I could show it to you, but it's a visual. It is, he looks insane. It's really scary. And, everything that's come out with Joe Biden, just in the last 5 days, there's been nothing good, right? The drug test, the eyes, the video throwdown challenge to Trump, where they had 5 edits in 30 seconds or however long it is because he couldn't get through the whole thing. They had to feed him line by line. Everything that's come out lately has been severe cognitive decline, some type of problem. And I'm watching some of the leftist discussion over the weekend, and they do not believe that Trump is going to do a debate. They think somehow that Trump, I don't know why they think this, they continue to talk.
Going to be replaced.
Well, they think Trump's going to not do the debate with Biden, that he's going to refuse to do the debate because Biden won't meet some of Trump's demands. And I know that Trump will do the debate no matter what. And, you know, him challenging Trump to a debate was, I don't know, I think they thought they were playing a game of chicken. I don't think they really thought that Trump would agree to it, or that he'll come up with some conditions that they're not going to agree and say, well, we want to do the debate, but Trump wants this, this, and that, and we're not going to do it. This thing about the drug testing, I believe sarcasm. I don't think Trump's serious. He's not going to make that a condition to do the debate. Trump wants to do the debate, but the chances of it happening, I think, are slim to none at this point. They really are.
Cheek humor.
Yeah, exactly. So they've agreed to something that they don't think is going to happen. And let me tell you, this debate is going to be brutal. You know, typically, it's going to be on CNN. And I know typically CNN, you know, they have the Democrats back. But if you've been watching CNN lately, and I've been watching it quite a bit, it is not pro-Biden. CNN seems to be on a mission to give someone else the Democrat nomination.
Party's on that mission right about now.
Yeah, and CNN spent the entire weekend talking about Biden's low poll numbers with blacks. They spent the whole weekend talking about it. And now here we are, you know, this New York trial is about to wrap up, okay? So the prosecution said Michael Cohen's their last witness. So today, most likely, we're going to get the prosecution resting the case, is what's expected today. And a couple things can happen, according to the legal experts at that point. The prosecution rest, and then the defense can do one of two things. One, they can mount the defense and call witnesses. But what most people think the defense is going to do in this New York case is make a motion for a dismissal or a verdict right there, or go to jury, that the prosecution has not made their case and settle it there, as opposed to make, a directed verdict. And they're saying that the judge can require the defense to put on a defense, which I did not know. But some big things came out about the judge over the weekend. And Laura Loomer broke some pretty big stuff about the judge. And one of them is this. You know, the dust up with Marjorie Taylor Greene on Thursday in that committee. How many of you are paying the judge's daughter is how that began. And there was the one Democrat who had done the prep with Cohen before his testimony. Remember this? There's a New York Democrat House member. I can't remember his name offhand. I'll look it up during the break maybe. It's not important. But what Laura Loomer uncovered is that the Democrat congressman, that she uncovered a few things, that coached and rehearsed Cohen with his testimony in the New York case, has been paying a lot of money to the company that the judge's daughter works for. But a couple things about this. One, the daughter doesn't work for the company. This is what came out over the weekend from Laura Loomer, because that's how it's been presented. Oh, well, you know, the judge's daughter is a political consultant. She works for this company. That's not true. She's an equity partner. Okay? So she's part owner of the company. She's an owner of the company. That's a big thing. And the Democrat that was rehearsing and prepping the testimony with Cohen not only has been paying her, the company boatloads of money, he's been mailing the checks to the judge's daughter's home. Not to the company address, but to the home. And he's been writing the checks in a way to not have them show up on the Election Commission filings. And Laura Loomer has all the documents, and she put this online on Saturday. And she detailed with the documents the bribery of this judge in New York. I mean, it is insane. And what the Democrat's been doing, he's been misspelling the name of the company and sending the checks to the daughter's house. And since the company's name ends with an S, and he's left the S off. And because he's done that, it doesn't show up in the FEC filings when people look up the daughter's company. Okay, so they're bribing the judge through the daughter. She owns the company.
They're accusing me.
Exactly. Yes, that's exactly right. There's RICO, there's bribery, there's all kinds of things going on. And And because Loomer broke the story over the weekend, the press is a little slow because they don't like her and they're embarrassed that she has something they don't have. But it's only a matter of time before this becomes known to the general public. And I mean, why are Democrats sending checks to the judge's daughter's house? Well, it's not in the news. There's tomorrow. I don't see it anywhere in the news today, and I've been looking for it. Why would Democrat members of Congress be sending checks for thousands of dollars to the home of the judge's daughter in the New York case? I mean, come on. And spelling the name of the company wrong so it doesn't show up in the FEC filings.
Public.
It's how much more public can it be? It's on Twitter, with Loomer. And believe me, Trump knows about it. Trump's people probably gave it to Laura Loomer. Okay? So this is not a secret story, but right now what the press are doing is sitting on the story. They're not covering the story.
Somebody's going to break it today.
Well, I don't know. Maybe I just did, Steve. I don't know. But somebody with a bigger audience, maybe. I don't know. But no, this story that I'm sharing with you is known by everyone in the media. Everyone in the media has seen this story that I'm sharing with you. Okay? Not just me and Loomer. Everyone, there is not a single person that covers election news that does not know about this story.
First of all, the most significant person who knows it should be Trump.
Trump knows it. I think he gave it to Laura Loomer.
Well, if Trump knows it, why isn't he?
He's leaking it out to the public through her, is what I think is happening. Instead of doing it directly, he's leaking it through her. All right, listen, we'll take our first break of the third hour. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. Our number 1-888-465-2631. We'll be right back.
Don't sit on the sidelines. Get in on the action. Call the Steve Kane Show live on air now. 888-GO-KANE-1. This is the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
La Bamba Restaurant, a family-owned authentic Mexican restaurant for 33 years. Come on in for a delicious taco salad, steak quesadilla, or a cold margarita. La Bamba is located at 730 U.S. Highway 1 in North Palm Beach. Check out labamba123.com.
Brian Craig here with a question for seniors and those who care about them. How would you like to have instant access to a healthcare advocate at the touch of a button? Would that make life easier for you? You can with I Will Advocates. I Will Advocates will help you set up doctor's appointments, help with your pharmacy, even deal with your pharmacist to make sure that you have your prescriptions. They'll help you find a doctor, including a specialist. If you've been billed improperly by a doctor's office or a hospital, they can help you with that too. They'll even be your advocate when you're in the hospital to make sure you get the care you need and the care you deserve. And that's just the beginning of what they do. I Will Advocates takes care of all Steve Kane's healthcare issues too, and they can do the same for you. I Will Advocate clients are family, and they go to bat for their family when you need them the most. Call Debbie at I Will Advocates right now. Toll free 1-877-275-2326. 1-877-275-2326. 1-877-275-2326.
Look up in the sky, on a t-shirt, a hoodie, or a hat. It's the Print Hero. The Print Hero team is made up of expert designers and printers, each with their own unique superpowers. Help your company look great. Stand out with your unique lifestyle. The Print Hero has you covered. Let your business soar with Print Hero. Display your logo, love, lifestyle, or whatever you want the world to see on a t-shirt, hoodie, or hat. Best prices and fast turnaround time. Print Hero, a company that goes above and beyond to deliver top quality products and services to their clients. Learn more at theprinthero.com. Up, and away.
Hurricane season is here, and now is the time to make a plan and know your zone. In the case of an evacuation, have a plan to go to a hurricane shelter, hotel, or stay with a family or friends. If you're ordered to evacuate, you need to leave. You can rebuild your home, but you cannot rebuild your life. This hurricane season, know your zone. Know your home. Learn more at floridadisaster.org. This message is sponsored by the Florida Division of Emergency Management, the Florida Association of Broadcasters, and this radio station.
This is Steve Kane. I want to tell you about my favorite restaurant in all of South Florida, Wings Plus in Coral Springs. Wings just the way you like them. Plump, tender, and delicious, crispy on the outside, succulent on the inside, everything homemade, nothing comes out of a can. Dozens thousands of specialty sauces that will make your mouth water. Wings Plus, located in Coral Springs, a mile west of University on the south side of Sample Road.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. Listen in the Palm Beaches on 95.9 FM. Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM. Hear us in Boca on 95.
All right, we are back, and I got the details on this at another scandal with the judge in the New York case, too. But first, I want to tell you about Jupiter Joe Thomas. He has 2 free things to offer. First of all, free copies of his book, The Retirement Know-It-All, which is a very good book. If you are retired or plan on being retired at any point in your life, you want this book. It's a very quick and easy to read, filled with lots of actionable advice to make your retirement much better. And he's also offering free phone consultations. No matter where you're located in the United States, you can take advantage of the free phone consultations with Jupiter Joe Thomas. Talk to him about annuities, okay? He'll tell you how with annuities you won't be risking your money, and when you're retired, you can generate income and have another revenue stream. Give him a call, 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. If you missed the number, just go to his website, jupiterjoe.com. That's jupiterjoe.com. All right, so I'm going to go through the details on the story, Steve, but also the judge's son-in-law. Now keep in mind, the daughter was paid $10 million from the Biden, Harris, and Adam Schiff campaign, the daughter, right? She's raised about $100 million through her Democrat consulting, whatever they call that racket, on the promise of Trump going to jail, and her dad oversees the case. We find out that she's an equity partner, so she owns the company. She's got partners, she's a partner, she owns the company. She doesn't just work for them. So she's getting all that money that they're raising from Democrats on the promise of putting Trump in prison. She's making money off of that on top of the $10 million. The judge's son-in-law, which of course is the husband of his corrupt daughter's, his corrupt daughter, he works for Joe Biden at the census. So the judge's daughter got $10 million from Biden, Harris, and Adam Schiff's campaigns. She's raised over about $100 million on the promise of putting Trump in jail. And now we find out that the daughter's husband works for Joe Biden at the Census Bureau. So, I mean, this is insane. But Trump's the one that's on trial for FEC violations. Now, I pulled this up. These are the by the way, I want to hear your thoughts on this at 1-888-465-2631. I've never known a judge to be so openly corrupt, Steve. Let me go through this story. This is the story on what Loomer broke involving the daughter taking money from Democrats at her house, okay?
You sit here at this moment, it still hasn't broken publicly, right?
I don't agree with that description. No, this Laura Loomer posted this online over the weekend. She has a massive following. We're talking about it. It hasn't been in the mainstream media yet. They're sitting on this story, okay? But I believe that Trump's people gave this to Laura Loomer. I believe, okay? So it's being and because Loomer publicized this on Saturday, anyone in America, even at the fake news outlets that cover political news, are aware of this and they're sitting on it. In fact, this is what Marjorie Taylor Greene, what started this whole fight with Marjorie Taylor Greene and Jasmine Crockett and AOC. She asked how many Democrats on this committee are sending money to the judge's daughter. Okay, so here's the details from Laura Loomer. New York congressional Democrats have been sending money to Judge Mercan's daughter's personal home residence in Richmond, Virginia. Okay, Mercan's the New York judge. Sending it to her house. Who does that? And distorting FEC records to cover up the payments to the daughter. Okay? Yeah, I know. And it's Democrat Congressman Dan Goldman. Dan Goldman is the Democrat congressman from New York who rehearsed and prepped Cohen for his disastrous testimony for the prosecution. And Laura Loomer has all the documents. Democrat Congressman Dan Goldman's FEC disclosure forms for his campaign disbursements show all this. According to FEC records, the address that New York Democrat Congressman Dan Goldman sends his checks to when he pays Authentic Campaign is a Richmond, Virginia address that is the personal home residence of Lauren Mercan. That's Judge Mercan's daughter. The judge's daughter is president of Authentic Campaigns with an S. Okay, the judge's daughter is the president of the company, and it's called Authentic Campaigns. But the Democrat congressman is dropping the S and writing the checks out to Authentic Campaign, singular. The FEC record shown by the documents here, and by the way, I tweeted all this stuff. You guys can see this on my Twitter, by Democrat New York Congressman Dan Goldman, show that he deceptively writes the checks as Authentic Campaign instead of Authentic Campaigns, deliberately leaving the S off of the end as a way to cover up the fact that he's paying the daughter directly, okay? Yeah, I mean, this is nuts. This is nuts. Okay, now, yeah, I mean, and it's all documented, okay? It's insanity. And this story came out on Saturday morning. And, you know, some investigations need to be done here. I mean, you know, it's obvious. I mean, come on. It's bribe money, isn't it, Steve? And they're going and they're misspelling it on the checks to cover up the FEC, because when people go to the FEC, they're looking for they type in, they search Authentic Campaigns with an S. This Democrat congressman leaves the S off, so that doesn't come up. You understand how it manipulates the digital records? People, I mean, this is, I don't know what the crime is. Well, it's bribery. I mean, is it fair to say it's bribery? What is she doing for all the money?
Well, I'm sure these people are very creative at creating crimes.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm very...
blow with this.
And I'm very curious as to not only why is he sending the checks to her home address, how is she depositing checks that have the company name misspelled on them? She's got to have some other dummy accounts. She can't deposit this in the main company's account if it's spelled differently. The checks won't clear. So does she have some dummy accounts with the misspelling of the company name where she's hiding the money?
It's going to become public, and it's going to be the story.
Yeah. It's a bit now.
Else that comes before this is pales in comparison.
Indeed, and I know the media are going to want to spend all this time on the Iranian leader plane crash. I mean, you know, so what? They're going to put up some radical Islamists to replace them with, you know, yeah, exactly. I mean, this judge could very likely end up in prison. I mean, come on.
Careful.
And this new thing about the checks.
Deal quick.
Oh yeah. And this new story with the checks going to the daughter's house and the misspelling of the company and all of that stuff shows deception. I mean, this is criminal. This is criminal. But, you know, they thought Trump would be locked up and no one would care and all this stuff. You know, we're in a different place than they projected with all their Trump hate. Listen, we're late for our bottom of the hour break. If you're on hold, hang in there. I'm Brian. Steve's here. Our number is toll-free 1-888-465-2631. We'll be right back.
Making morning radio great again. It's the Steve Kane Show.
If you're a homeowner, business owner, or with a homeowners association and your roof is old or compromised, you need to call Tom Laporta at Laporta Contracting. With a AAA credit rating and bonded up to $10 million, Laporta Contracting doesn't need a large deposit like those other contractors do. Typical deposits other contractors want are 1/3 of the contract. If your job is $30,000, that's a $10,000 deposit. If your job is $300,000, that's $100,000. What are they doing with your money? Typically, it takes 3 to 4 weeks to get a permit, and HOAs, much longer. If they need money for the materials, they don't have credit with the suppliers, and that spells bad news for the homeowner or HOA. Tom Laporta is honest, knowledgeable, and reliable, and he'll never sell you a roof you don't need. Laporta Contracting has been in the roofing and contracting business since 1988, and his services cover the east and west coast of Florida and everywhere in between. Tom Laporta can handle any type of roofing job too. Residential roofing and repair, commercial roofs, schools, municipal buildings, office buildings, emergency repairs. If it's roofing, Tom Laporta can do it. Call Tom Laporta right now on his cell phone, 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. And online, LaportaContracting.com.
Today, the buy one get one free, and they're our first My Pillows, and we love them. We absolutely love them. They're just absolutely marvelous. Yeah, I'm so glad. I got slippers on the way too.
Go to MyPillow.com and use our promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E, and buy your MyPillow 2.0. Right now, buy one, get one free. You can also order by phone, toll free, 800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code Kane.
Hello, this is Mike at Friendly Tire. I've been in business 30 years at the same location and offering great deals on new and used tires. I have many suppliers. Whatever car or truck you have, I can get you incredible deals on any tire. I also do tire repairs at very low prices. Give me a call. My number is 954-977-9445. I will give you a price over the phone on new and used tires. Again, my number is 954-977-9445. Thank you.
Brian Craig here. When it comes time to get my blood work done, I don't have time to spend hours in the doctor's office or waiting hours in one of those big labs. That's why I go to Any Lab Test Now of Boca and Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs for all of my lab work. Their techs are highly skilled and professional, and their prices are guaranteed to be the lowest on lab work you'll find anywhere. Appointments aren't necessary. Doctor's orders and prescriptions, they're not needed either. I'm in and out in 15 minutes or less. I get the results the next day in my email box, and they also send it to my doctor. There's lots of Any Lab Test Nows around, but these are the only two advertising on our radio station. So don't use the rest. Only go to Any Lab Test Now of Boca and Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs. Any Lab Test Now of Boca is in the Sandalfoot Plaza. That's where the Western Beef is, between Palmetto Park Road and Hillsborough Boulevard on the east side of State Road 7, 441. Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs is on the southeast corner of University and Ramblewood by the Coral Square Mall. Call Any Lab Test Now of Boca at 561-237-5009. Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs number is 954-906-5983. And don't forget to mention that you heard about them on the radio.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
All right, so we are back. I'm Brian, Steve here. Yeah.
Well, something.
Mm-hmm.
You know that list we keep of big events of the day that broke when we were on the air?
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, I'm trying to remember some of them. One in Iraq, bombing at the...
Yeah. 9/11.
11 was one.
Yep.
And we can add this to our list.
Yeah, I know. This story, I know it seems we don't usually cover financial crimes in such detail on the program because but it's huge. It is huge. I mean, it's in total insanity.
The big one was the 9/11.
Yeah, 9/11. That was a big one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. That's we were. All right. Well, let's go to the phones. Our number 1-888-465-2631. This story, as complex as it is, keep in mind, every member of the media nationally knows about it. So anyone who doesn't cover it today is covering it up. Well, now that I've blurted it out, yes. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Ellen.
Yes, what's your name? I missed it.
Ellen.
Hey, Ellen, what's up?
I don't know which line to go after first, Brian. Like, the Central Park Five, you know, when they were proven innocent.
Proven innocent?
Yeah, when they were proven innocent.
Oh, see, this is interesting. Hold on, slow down, Ellen. What country did you grow up in? United? Well, because you said something that we don't have in the American justice system. You know, in a court of law, no one is proven innocent. They are proven guilty or not guilty, not innocent. So where's this place where people are proven innocent?
When the Central Park Five were acquitted, okay, Trump was the one that kept coming out, even after that, claiming they were guilty.
Well, do you know who first said that the Central Park Five were guilty? Do you know who?
No, enlighten me.
Well, you should know because you're so well informed on it. The first people to publicly say the Central Park Five were guilty were the Central Park Five who confessed to the crime.
And then their DNA proved that what?
DNA? I don't know about DNA back then, but I tell you this. If someone is accused of one of these crimes like rape or murder, you know, and they confess, and later they come up with some legalese to get them off the hook and they recant, it doesn't take away the confession.
They never confessed, Brian.
Steve, come on. They did confess.
No, they didn't.
Yes, they did.
Mm-hmm. Even after they were proven innocent.
They weren't. No one is proven innocent in America. And they did confess.
No, they didn't.
Okay. Don't say the S word. I know you want the call to end. And what else you got? What else do you got?
Well, I want to know why Trump's so afraid of debating Biden.
He said he's going to debate Biden.
Oh, but only if it was a drug test.
That's called, we were talking about that. That's called, I understand with your tone, you don't have a sense of humor. That's called sarcasm. He was joking.
Oh, baloney.
Oh, baloney. No, he was joking. It's called sarcasm.
So, want to make him have a
Your
drug
dreams
test?
and in your prayers, that's where they're not going to debate.
Maybe you should be drug tested. You sound like you're out of it.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh.
That's not a denial. That's not a denial. All right, take care. Thanks for the call. Oh my good. Oh my. She didn't say I'm not on drugs. I'm not. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Richard Pamela.
Hey, Richard.
Okay, this is what I'm sort of hoping will happen in the debate. CNN's running it, so they're going to start off probably with Biden with a soft question. Not like what's your favorite ice cream, but something ridiculously soft. And then I'm hoping, I think that's the time when his mic is turned off, that he walks off and says, if that's the best you're going to do, forget it.
Who's going to walk off?
Oh, we have a bad connection. Can you?
I can hear you fine. Who's going to walk off?
Trump will threaten to walk off if that's the best you could do. To ask him what?
What? You think during the debate that Trump is going to walk off or threaten to walk off on national television? Why would he do that?
I hope he will just bash the moderator for asking soft, stupid questions of Biden, because that's the best Biden can do, because Biden is an idiot. That's what I'm hoping.
Okay. All right. I appreciate the call. All right. No, I don't quite get that. You know, but that the lady caller before, Steve, that's what I told you. That's the CNN, that's the MSNBC position, that Trump doesn't want to debate and that he's going to find a way out of the debate. Nothing could be further from the truth. Why would he avoid debating someone who has the most disastrous presidency maybe ever? I mean, this presidency is a complete failure.
wiped the floor with twice before.
Exactly. Now, I know Biden claims to have won the debates before, but that's nonsense. And this time, he's got a really bad record. That is, you cannot defend his record, Joe Biden. His record is not defensible. And Trump's going to come in there with all kinds of information, like how many people actually are dead from the fentanyl that Biden's brought into the country, things like that. And Biden's going to have a difficult time. But they're trying to get this narrative going that Trump doesn't really want to debate him. Why would he not want to debate him? Why would they think that he's afraid of him? This is what happens when you watch too much MSNBC. Your brain starts to devolve. Exactly. All right, our number 1-888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Ellen again. What?
Ellen. Oh, I forgot, Ellen. It's one call per day, and the conversation had been completed. Well, yeah, it was on our end. Okay, just like... Exactly. All right, it's time to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated with the Morning Gold and Precious Metals Report, the first one of the week. William Youngerman, how are the metals starting off the week?
Metals are starting off very interesting. Right this moment, we're down, but overnight we were up dramatically. And, of course, last week we were up a lot. The markets last week, on Friday, as you may recall, I mentioned we would probably see 2,400 by this week. Well, we actually saw it by Friday, and gold closing on Friday at $2,414.40 the ounce, up $38.90. Silver closed up $2.01. Big moves on silver, really breaking out, hitting $31.48 the ounce. Platinum was up $22 at $1,082, and palladium closed up $20 at $996. Overnight, we saw gold get up to $2,450, tackling that old high, intraday high, and we came off of that immediately, as is typical when you see an old high approached or hit. Again, there's usually selling with the trade coming in and selling those highs, but we'll see how long that lasts. We've seen this happen before, and then we just plow through those numbers, the resistance areas, and then go to new highs. Overnight, gold trading $2,414 on the low, $2,450 on the high. And right now, we're at $2,418.30. That's down $4. Silver got up to $32.57 last night. Right now, down 44 cents at $31.04 the ounce. Platinum down $28 now at $11.54. And palladium $9.92, down $4. So holding very good, but big gains on Friday.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is the time. Well, listen, William Youngerman opens up weekdays at 10 a.m. You can stop in at 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca on the first floor of the Bank of America building, just east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. You can give them a call toll-free, 1-800-327-5010, 1-800-327-5010, and online, WilliamYoungerman.com. All right, we're starting off the week good. We'll touch base tomorrow, William Youngerman.
Oh, okay, have a great day.
All right, back after this.
Truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 on...
All right, we're back. I'm Brian. Steve's here. We've had two calls today from out-of-control liberals on the Central Park 5, which, the Central Park 5 is a little bit before my time, and I'm not a New Yorker, but I did pull up some background on the confession, so I just thought I would share this, okay? This is from Wikipedia, the confessions, okay? The videotape, I don't know why they're bringing this up, these days, but they are today. The videotape confessions of the Central Park 5 started on April 21st after detectives finished unrecorded interrogations during which the suspects were in custody for at least 7 hours. Santana, McCrae, and Richardson made video statements in the presence of their parents. Wise made several statements unaccompanied by a parent, guardian, or lawyer. Lopez was interviewed on videotape in the presence of his parents on April 21st, 89. I was in high school when this happened, by the way, guys. 89, that's when I graduated high school. He named others of the group by first names and said they took part in the attacks. Okay? None of the 6 had defense attorneys. Okay, so not only did they confess, they did it with their parents there in some instances, okay? So this, and they say, well, they were coerced. Let me tell you, you accuse me of rape, you accuse me of murder, there's nothing going to coerce me into saying I did something like that I didn't do. I'm here to tell you, okay? This isn't forgetting to pick up milk on the way home from work. And to do it with the parents there? Come on. You know, this just became one of those race charge cases, and they found some, you know, Al Sharpton types to defend them and stir up the community, and they got away with it. But, I mean, if they're going to bring up, if the best they have is that Donald Trump said some guys were guilty who themselves said were guilty in 1989, and that's an example of racism, I think they're going to have a tough time, Steve. What do you think? Yeah. Now, I mean, gee whiz. I mean, you know, this is, on the other hand, Joe Biden, I played audio earlier today on the show, spent the entire 1970s in the Senate trying to stop the integration of the public school system. He also, and he spent the whole decade trying to maintain segregation. Then, later, during the Clinton era, he got that, those laws passed through the Congress, Joe Biden, that is responsible for the incarceration of more African Americans, the drug laws, since slavery ended. Okay, I mean, this guy's a bad guy. Biden eulogized a Ku Klux Klansman at his funeral, Robert Byrd. Okay, and there's no debate that he was a Klansman. Okay, Robert Byrd. If you're not familiar, look it up. There's
major sleaze. Anybody that's
through
his career, what he did to Clarence Thomas in his information hearings.
Give me a break. You know, and exactly. You look what they're trying to do to Alito right now, okay, with this upside down flag. You know, everything they do is based on lies, trying to create false narratives, and the reason you're seeing so many of these crazy things happen that we're talking about right now, okay, is because they're about to lose this case in New York. Their entire strategy was around Trump being convicted of something, and that's not going to happen.
If this story pans out, which I'm sure it will, I mean, based on all the detail you've given, they're cooked.
Well, for some reason, I guess because of their Trump derangement syndrome, I don't know, but
understand why the liberal media is giving him a pass for now.
Well, no, but even the liberal media are saying that Trump's won this case in New York. I mean, this case in New York,
Judge, which is the culmination of just
bribes.
They're at this point they're just hoping it'll go away.
You know, this money trail. What else could it be when they're sending checks to the judge's daughter's house, and it just happens to be a congressman that's prepping Michael Cohen? Exactly. I mean, come on. You know, come on. I don't think in the history of this country, I'm not saying there have not been corrupt judges that have taken bribes. I'm sure that happens all the time over the years. But I don't think it's happened openly like this, where you've had this kind of cloud over a judge in a case. I don't think this has ever happened openly. And I'll tell you, this will come out. And whoever... Well, what I mean is they're not going to be able to keep it out of the mainstream media for long. It's going to eventually have to be in the mainstream media, the corporate media, the fake news media. They're not going to be able to explain this away so easily. They've been ignoring the daughter like it's no big deal, and now we have these FEC records. And I mean, the cherry on this is that the Democrat congressman sending the checks to the daughter's house was the one that did the prep for the prosecution witness, Michael Cohen. I mean, there's some direct connections here.
This morning.
I've been following it. I've not seen it. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Terry from Florida.
Hey, Terry.
Hey, what's up, bro?
Not much. What's up?
Trump was saying Trump did the same thing, bro.
Did what?
wrong with him?
He bribed a judge? Tell me about that. Tell me. We're going to break some news.
He was paid. And then...
Wait. He was what? He was what?
You know, prostitutes.
What prostitute? Excuse me. Buying prostitutes. What prostitute did he...
Whores. He was...
What?
And God made him. God made Satan too.
What prostitute... Excuse me. What prostitute did Trump pay?
Are you kidding me?
No.
The porn star?
You made the allegation. What prostitute? Excuse me. You made the allegation. I'm not going to do your reason. You said Trump paid a prostitute. What prostitute did he pay? Oh, dead air. Yeah. Google it, then come back and pretend to know something. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Sherry from Fort Pierce. That guy's such a moron, Terry.
Yes.
The Antichrist guy.
Fort Pierce. You're from the Fort Pierce. You're in the jury pool for the documents trial of Trump.
Oh God.
Maybe
okay.
That'd be cool, wouldn't it? Would you like to be on the jury?
Not really. It's a waste of time. What do you get paid? $15 a day?
Yeah, but you'd be on the Trump jury. You'd be on the Trump jury.
You know what he should do? Because they're going to cut the mic off him. He should come with have a PowerPoint. You know, this is the list he needs to follow.
Oh, you're talking about the debate?
Court, and he had the paper of the illegal immigrant that killed a little baby and all that stuff. He should just go down the list, have a PowerPoint like Como had for COVID, and just knock it off like that. Instead, because I'm so afraid that he overtalks sometimes. Instead of trying to go after Joe, just list all his disasters. Let's go over this. Let's go over this. Let's go. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
I think that would keep him. Yeah, that's what he needs. He needs to be focused and because they're going to cut him off. I don't know why he agreed to all this crappy no audience because he's such a wimp. He's afraid to get booed by, and that's one reason.
No audience is awesome. That means you're not going to get the fake applause for the Democrats, for Biden. No audience is a great one. I support that.
Come on, the CNN hates his guts. They should have had a little bit more, at least Fox or somebody
Listen, when you're a good debater, you can debate anyone, anywhere, anytime, under any circumstances. And believe me, Trump will have no problems. Hey, appreciate the call. Thanks so much. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Geez, hey, tell Trump to fire every single one of his campaign managers and hire that last caller, bro. She knows what she's talking about, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, Brian, Justin's Clarence Thomas and Scalia, those two people should recuse themselves.
Scalia should recuse himself? Scalia has been dead. How long has Scalia been dead? Scalia's been dead for like 10 years. What do you mean he should recuse himself? Oh my gosh. Slow down, Tom. Tom just said that Supreme Court Justice Scalia, who's been dead for years, should step down from the court. Oh my goodness. Aren't you embarrassed to be so uninformed?
No.
You want dead Supreme Court justices to step down?
You ready for this? I misspoke. I apologize.
What were you trying to say? What were you trying to say? How did you misspeak? What were you trying to say?
The two justices that have wives who are obviously intertwined with Donald Trump and the whole MAGA movement, Clarence Thomas's wife having basically a lot, supported January 6th.
Every judge on every federal bench is politically connected. That's how they get presidential appointments. If they're not connected, they don't get presidential appointments.
Yeah, just like that African-American lady, she took herself off the court because she went to Harvard.
Who? What black judge took themselves off the Supreme Court? Tell me who that was.
They didn't. They recused themselves from the situation with the.
With the what?
Because there was a conflict of interest with the.
What protest?
She recused herself.
What protest?
the Palestine and the
Yeah, I know. But Scalia should step down.
Scalia should step down and go.
Scalia, I thought you misspoke. Now you want a dead man to step down again. Oh my God, are you okay?
No.
Scalia's the one they found with the pillow over his face. He died when Obama was president. Remember they found a pillow over his face? And there was rumor of foul play with Scalia?
Okay, since I missed, which one was the judge that hung the flag? Correct me.
You're the one that doesn't like them. You should know these answers. There's no accusation. There is no accusation that a judge hung a flag upside down. That's also inaccurate.
No, it was his wife that did it.
Well, that's not the judge, is it?
Which one? Who is that judge?
You're the one that wants him to step down. You want the guy to step down, but you don't even know his name?
I didn't say step down. I said recuse.
From what?
Misspoke.
Recuse from what?
When you have a conflict of interest.
What do you want him to recuse himself from?
They're MAGA loving wives.
You want him to get a divorce?
No, I don't. You know what? If I had those, maybe I would get a divorce. Maybe, but since
you got to find a woman who wants to marry you first.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed for you, Tom. I'm embarrassed for you.
That's fine, Brian. That's fine. That's all good and well. I really don't care. Okay.
Yeah, I can tell.
Yeah, I know. And you want to keep me on the line because I misspoke a justice's name
twice. Yeah. All right. Yeah. God bless. All right. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Take care.
WSFS 104.3 HD3 Miramar, WIRK 103.1 HD3 Indiantown, and Herman Brown.
All right. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, and everyone else that's already sub-liked the video. All right. I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching, everyone. Oh my goodness.